This is a different panel. I'm sorry, I accidentally shared it with you, Lewis.
No, don't be. What's going on?
Oh, we're getting ready to play the Candace Owens stuff.
Who's that?
Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk's.
Yeah, I don't like her.
Yeah. Well, then you won't like this live.
Then you may not like this live. That's why I accidentally shared it with you. I'm sorry, Lewis.
No, I watch the live sometimes.
Hold on.
Candace Owens, welcome to the show.
I'm so excited to do this.
You and me both.
And it haunts me because now, in the way that he was dreaming in 2018, I have had the most vivid dreams since he's died. And Netanyahu, there's your answer. Like, we couldn't get to Utah. Like, your family will crawl over glass to get to you. You go through something like that. And mind you, the vice president is offering to fly over. If you watch videos, people just smashing a road mic, that's exactly what it looks like, is littered all over the floor. So now, Andrew tweeted something without the police asked me to. I don't know. You want to see the footage? Instead, he was the first person that ran. First and foremost, she's the mother of Charlie's kids. That's first and foremost. Secondly, it required me to have to go through a second stage of grief that I was not ready to do. I had a very hard time with Charlie's death. Still do. But to be the person that Charlie was speaking to so much about how much he wanted love, to when I had to take time off and just go to Wyoming and try to get my head right after it, I read through all of our messages, and so I relived it all. And because I was in a phase of denial. I was really at that phase where I was hoping, and I went through bargaining, I went through anger, I went through a very aggressive stage of denial, and I think my husband was realizing that I needed to get away at that point because I was trying to say, like, no, maybe he's really alive. Maybe they put him in witness protection. Like, that's that bargaining. And then also the denial that's just in my face. And when I got out there, I was reading the messages, and before she came into his life, and Charlie just really, really, really wanted love, right? That was like it. And it was almost like poetic, the stuff that he was writing about how love could kind of make men move mountains. And so for me to have to mourn him and then have to consider that the thing that he wanted most, like, he didn't get, it just gutted me. It gutted me. And so, but I couldn't deny it anymore. I couldn't deny it. And it was beyond intuition. It was beyond her being weird. It was beyond her being at the office. And then I got the Zoom calls. My assumption was that she was grieving like I was. And my assumption, I didn't know she was in the office the next week. As soon as she got back, she just went straight to the office. And
she was in the office the next week?
Yep. As soon as she gave that speech at the podium that you saw, where she addressed the nation, not the I forgive him speech, but like the first one that was like 48 hours after he died, she was in the office that whole week.
Dude, I'll be honest. When I saw the funeral.
Is that what we're calling it?
Like, posting Instagram stories or whatever it was of her like rubbing his dead body. I was like, what the fuck is this, dude? Yeah. What is that?
Yep. And then
you're using your dead husband as a fucking social media post.
And beyond that, and again, me ignoring all of it. And then it was just, actually, on the day that your husband gets shot, you didn't have a single one of your family members go with you? Not one family member or friend went with Erica to Utah.
Wow.
She went with the person that's holding her in the photo when his body's coming off Air Force One. Could you imagine not having your mom, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your best friend, I don't know, like your A1 since day one from high school with you when that goes down? No, she was in every single one of those videos, she's with the head fundraiser of Turning Point USA. The person holding her, hugging her, crying, that's Stacey Sheridan. She's the chief fundraiser. Stacey Sheridan is the one recording her while she's in the casket. No one can make that make sense. You cannot tell me 1,000 times that you would not have a family member, a cousin, a brother, somebody other than just all Turning Point people. And mind you, the vice president is offering to fly over whoever you want. So this isn't like, oh, we couldn't get to Utah. Like your family will crawl over glass to get to you. You go through something like that. And she didn't have anybody, not her aunts, nobody, just Stacey Sheridan recording all of those private moments. And again, those were the things. I mean, I think I just assumed that her family was there. I assumed because Charlie's family was there. His sister was there. His mother was there. His brother was there. I mean, his mother and father were there. She just had Mama Stacy, as I call it, which is the woman who's all about raising money. And when did you guys get so close? You don't need anybody else for emotional support here. And so you're correct. That was intentionally recorded for us to raise money at the end of the day. But the lie that she told that I couldn't get over was when she lied about the 30-6. And
What did she lie about that? What did she say?
So what we thought happened, and this is, I think I single-handedly ruined the plan, so to speak. But what happened was my eyes when I was watching the event, as someone who had gone on tour with Charlie every single year since 2017, so 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, up until 2024, which is the first time they started doing this double mic thing on him, right? The fall of 2024, as I'm going, why is Terrell there? It's the first thing I drew my eye. It was like, why is the head of audiovisual here? He doesn't come on campus events. This is new. And then I see that he's taking the camera down. And I'm like, that's weird. And the internet's going crazy about this. So I'm like, well, Terrell's been there for 12 years, maybe longer. I know, I'm just going to call him and ask him, what's up? Like, maybe there's a reason. And I assumed he was going to say something like, the police asked me to. I don't know. You want to see the footage? Instead, he was the first person that made me realize something was very wrong because he was very nervous on the phone. I asked him if I could see the back footage just to clarify with people, looking out for you, Terrell. I can tell them what's going on. And his energy was just completely wrong. He came up with a million excuses why I couldn't see the back footage. He told me he didn't know how to send a file. I'm like, Terrell, you run an audiovisual company. You know how to send a file. Then he told me, oh yeah, I do know how to send a file, but I really didn't. I'm afraid Google's going to hack me if I send it. And I said, Google's going to hack you if you send me the file of the back footage. And I didn't accept that, obviously. And then he said, well, I grabbed the camera for Erica so that she wouldn't have to relive her husband dying over and over again. And I said, his death was live streamed. Everyone saw Charlie die. The back footage is not that's not going to be anything. So I knew something was wrong with the back footage. And I kept pressing him for 2 days. And finally he said, well, I'll FaceTime you and show you it. And I hit record on the face. I just didn't know, but just my instincts. And someone on my team was like, you should record this. And I recorded it. And the first thing I thought that was so strange was there was no blood. The bullet didn't go through. There was no blood. Charlie's shirt was crisp white from the moment he went down. And I went, that's odd. So I, at that moment, recorded it, had it, hung up with him, told my audience what I saw. And there was apparently mass panic, which I now know how the full story went. This was the day of Charlie's actual funeral, not the WWE memorial event, but the actual funeral, which was the night before. And they panicked that I had seen the footage, and somebody at the FBI called Turning Point and asked explicitly to Justin Strife whether or not I had recorded it. At that point, Justin Strife, who is the COO of Turning Point USA, messaged my husband, called my husband, and wanted to know whether or not I had recorded it. And my husband has no idea what he's talking about. He's like, he runs the business. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He then comes out to me and he's like, Justin Strife keeps asking if you recorded this footage. What's he talking about? And instantly in my mind, I said, that's a really weird question. Why does it matter? Why does it matter if I recorded the footage? And I said, don't answer him. I'll deal with it. And then what happened, this is all happening on the day of Charlie's actual funeral. No one should be caring about back footage, anything. Why is the FBI calling? What then happened was Erica peeled off from Charlie's actual funeral, his wife, and she called the surgeon with Andrew Colvett on the phone, a 3-way call. And the story that Andrew would then write, because then he tweeted on the day of Charlie's funeral and said, people want to know why there was, no blood. And then The surgeon says that it was a miracle. And you remember this ridiculous tweet, Charlie ate really healthy, and normally it would have taken down a moose, but he really was the man of steel. And this is like a modern day Christian miracle. I mean, total slop for the masses. And everyone then went, what the F? It didn't go through. Like, you're confirming this didn't go through. Something's wrong here, right? When I asked Erica about this, and I didn't know about this thing that happened at the funeral, I asked her, why did Andrew send this tweet? And she said to me, he went rogue. I didn't know he sent the tweet. I said, Andrew went rogue, and she said, called the surgeon. I said, the surgeon spoke to Andrew without your permission? And she said, yeah. I said, so the surgeon to the highest profile assassination since JFK violated HIPAA, went rogue, spoke to some random PR guy he doesn't know, who also went rogue. And then at the conclusion of this conversation, Andrew tweeted something without your permission and went rogue again. And she said, yeah. And then I got the information that she completely lied.
How'd you figure that out?
A source. That she was the one who initiated the phone call, and Andrew was on it, and that the surgeon never said that, what was put on online. In fact, that's largely embarrassing to a surgeon, because you're saying he violated HIPAA, right? And he's an idiot. Like, he's an idiot. Like, it's a modern day miracle. Not only that, but it's not the surgeon's job. So what happened was she said to the surgeon, allegedly, how can we explain to people that the 30-06 didn't go through? And the surgeon doesn't know anything about whether 30-06. He is a hunter. He hunts. And he said, I don't know. Like, maybe it was a frangible bullet or something. I have no idea. And he's going off of them saying it was a 30-06. And at that point, Erica offered an explanation. And she said, well, my baby, he ate so healthy. And I'm sure it's like he had a man of steel neck because he ate so healthy.
So wasn't there a picture of Robinson standing at a Dairy Queen right in front of a poster that said man of steel?
Yeah, which actually was in theaters. And so that was like weird. But Erica is that quotation and that explanation came from Erica as she was trying to pull an excuse out of the surgeon, which somehow got elevated to the number one priority on the day of her husband's actual funeral. They were stressed out that the public had learned that the bullet didn't go through. Why would you be stressed out about that?
I would be mourning my wife or who my significant other. Yeah. I wouldn't be
trying. So
what do you think is going on? I mean, who is Tyler Robinson? What the fuck was he doing there? Who do you think is behind this?
I don't. Do you think Tyler Robinson was there?
You don't think he was there?
No. I think he's a total patsy. I think they get lookalikes and they got everybody wearing the same outfit. I think he played a role, and I believe that what he did was he picked up clothes and he dumped them behind the Dairy Queen. I think he had a role, but I do not believe that Tyler Robinson is the person who was walking in that staircase. I do not believe the person walking in the staircase was even the person that we saw running off of the roof. I don't even know what day that person was running off the roof, because there's only one eyewitness to him having been on the roof, and the person who says that he saw him crouching low, the person that shared the video of the guy on the roof and was like, look up here. Somebody just got up there. I spoke to that individual, and he never saw a shot fired. Never said that he saw a shot fired, knows about weapons, and finds it really unusual that the prosecution hasn't reached out to him. So I don't know what happened. I just know what didn't happen. And I feel confident stating that Tyler Robinson did not murder Charlie Kirk. Whether or not he was an accessory to the crime, do I believe he was at Dairy Queen dropping off clothes? Yeah. How did he get mixed up in that? I don't know. Maybe he was blackmailed. Maybe he got involved in some weird stuff online. That's the easiest way for the feds to blackmail someone. I think his roommate is a federal asset, Lance Twiggs. The person.
Why do you think that?
Because the police didn't even question him, which is bonkers. Yeah, Lance Twiggs. I spoke to Lance Twiggs, his family, and they think he's involved. And they don't understand why the police just sat him down for a few hours, and then let him go. And they said he's involved in a lot of bad stuff. He lived with them for a little bit, that he's into, weird categories of pornography as well. And so they were shocked that the police just had never had any interest in Lance Twiggs. And he is crucial to the story that they're trying to tell as the roommate. If they're in a gay relationship and you're dating him, you would have access to his guns. You could easily set up somebody that you're dating. And that's what my gut tells me is Lance Twiggs is a federal asset.
Shit. Who was the guy? Wasn't there a guy that said he did it? That was also at 9/11 or something?
Oh, I call him decoy boy number 1, George Zinn.
What the fuck is that?
So George Zinn instantly gets up, says he did it, his pants fall, and people are recording him, and it creates, I guess, just a bit of a distraction. What I have on authority from the hospital that he went to after, he went to the hospital to get treated for some mild injuries, is that he told the nurses that he was paid to do it, but he didn't know where the money was coming from.
And this guy was also in New York when 9/11 happened.
I don't know if he was in New York, but he has some story about 9/11.
There's some weird connection.
Some very weird connection.
I don't know exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember, but
no, you're correct. But that's what he told the nurses that day, that he was paid to do that. But he didn't know who exactly was paying him, just that he was going to be paid for that.
Do you think he was killed because he was going against Israel?
1,000%.
Why him?
1,000%.
Lots. You go against Israel. Why not you?
Well,
Why are you still here?
I think if Andrew Colbert is to be believed, he told me it was supposed to be me, which was an interesting thing to say.
What?
Andrew Colbert said to me a few days after the assassination, and at the moment I just took it as poorly expressed grief, because I didn't find Andrew to be suspicious, because I just didn't, my mind wasn't there. But he said to me on the phone, it was supposed to be you, verbatim.
Are you serious?
But I thought that was just, he was crying, I was crying. I thought he just
legitimately
said
it was supposed to be you.
It was supposed to be you. So I have questions about that now. Given everything that happened in the lead up to that, I think Charlie knew something. I think the biggest question that has not been answered in all of this is what happened at the Hamptons when Bibi Netanyahu called.
I don't know about this.
So it was a couple of weeks before Charlie died, August 5th and 6th. He did a summit at Bill Ackman's house, where, Bill Ackman was kind of hosting a bunch of pro-Israel people. And Charlie was pressed on his changing views. And he was pressed by Seth Dillon. Voices were raised. And he wanted to know why he's not, why you can't criticize Bibi Netanyahu and not be called anti-Semitic. There was a smaller dinner that took place. And Bill Ackman, Erica was present. And Bibi Netanyahu called. Now, what I was told directly from Andrew Colbert, which Erica didn't know that my source was Andrew Colbert on this, she was surprised in person when I told her this, was that Bibi offered to take Turning Point USA to the next level. And Charlie said no. In exchange for what? Also, how does an organization that's pulling in $150 million a year, what is the next level? It's a lot of money, $100 million a year. In exchange for what? Do you think in exchange for him pledging to preach free markets and capitalism? So at the moment that you refuse an offer from a man that deranged, that psychopathic, that bloodthirsty,
That much power.
You know something. He
obviously has
it's in exchange
an
for something.
enormous amount of influence over the current administration.
Correct.
I mean, an enormous amount of influence. It's pretty fucking obvious. I think everybody's seeing it.
In exchange for what? I'll take your company to the next level. Cool. What in exchange for what? I think it's a $1 trillion question. And Erica, when I asked her about that, and she admitted the Bibi Netanyahu call happened, that she was there, and she said, "Oh, he was just calling because Charlie had written him a letter in May." And it's just so stupid. So stupid. Oh, he's not busy. He just was calling to say, "Hey, Toodles, like, just wanted to know how you're doing. I saw your letter. Thanks for it." And he was just, I said, "That's it." Okay. So I'm supposed to believe Andrew lied about that he offered to take it to the next level. And she was coming to say, no, that didn't happen. He just wanted to just check in with Charlie. That's not true. She's lying. And I know she's lying because then somebody in Andrew Colbett's family orbit reached out to me and said that definitively happened because Andrew said that when Charlie said no, he lost millions. Andrew Colbett lost millions when Charlie said no. And you wonder, how does a PR guy lose millions? He's a spokesperson for Turning Point USA. And then I had to remind myself that he owns a piece of the Charlie Kirk show, right? So I don't know if it was going to be via the Charlie Kirk show, which was at that moment with Salem. Salem has recently filed, under FARA. They're working with that Faith by Works and the whole thing. And Salem is a part of that filing. So they are effectively foreign agents. I don't know how that money was going to come in. That's another question that if we had any real journalists, they would be exploring that. But Bibi Netanyahu calling and Charlie not just refusing it, but he had anger towards Bibi. He did. And how do you know? Because Bibi Netanyahu that month did a ton of shows. Very strange, by the way. That a prime minister of Israel was suddenly hitting the orbit, doing PR. He did a ton of shows. I mean, Patrick Bet-David's show, Brandon Tatum's show, and he hadn't before that done any sort of podcasting since he was like hawking his book, like years ago. He didn't do Charlie Kirk's show because Charlie didn't want to have him on. Again, something told to me as a fact by Andrew Colbett. Charlie refused to have Bibi Netanyahu on a show. So if you want to know how Charlie was feeling about Israel and Bibi Netanyahu, there's your answer. How people couldn't see the Israel threat in this doesn't make any sense to me.
I can't believe he said it was supposed to be you.
He did.
Does that scare you?
I mean,
you seem fearless.
We're all here for a blip, and I think it's not about not having any fears. It's about what scares me more, right? What scares me more is considering the world that our children will inherit if we stay quiet. Because we feel it right now. We feel the squeeze. We feel the evil. We feel the cloud. It's there. And you have a bunch of people who, whether it's for money or for fear, are allowing it to happen. And there are so many historical lessons about what can happen to a country when good men do nothing. And so what scares me is thinking about what's going to be like in America when my children are my age. Because I was too scared to say something when Charlie Kirk was publicly assassinated and the most powerful people in the country colluded to lie about it. If Charlie Kirk was not safe in the United States of America, nobody is. Nobody is.
Do you feel this is your responsibility?
To figure out what happened and to keep the investigation going? I don't know if it's like I don't know if responsibility would be the word that I would use. I just know that it's a part of my journey. I know that it's not a coincidence that Charlie kept telling me he was going to die young, that he had really, really deep visions about his death in 2018, very specific visions about the fact that he was going to die young, and that he knew that I would be the one to fight. There are things that we don't understand. We're not meant to understand them, right? lie, but there is something that is moving me that feels bigger than me. I know it matters. And when I read back those conversations and think about how I was like, you need to get some sleep. You're probably just tired. No, you're not going to die young. You know, my death is going to be tied to Turning Point USA. From the moment I signed on the dotted line, he said he has the dream. He had the dreams repeatedly.
What were the dreams?
That he was going to die young, that he was going to die in a very tragic way. And that his death would be tied to like saving the world, waking up the world about something. And at the time, I didn't. I mean, what do you say with that, right? If I was like, okay, sure, give me a plan. What would you like me to do when you die young? Like, what was I going to say? When I read it back, it's haunting. It haunts me. And it haunts me because now in the way that he was dreaming in 2018, I have had the most vivid dreams since he's died. And I don't discount them. I know there is just something spiritually pulling me and guiding me in ways that I don't really understand. And so I just give into that. It's like he went out and something awakened in me.
I mean, when you're talking about evil prevails when good men do nothing, do you think that, I think about this all the time too, it's one of my favorite quotes. I feel part of me feels like it's a responsibility to do what I do, just like you do, I think. But how much impact do you think you can really make?
You know, I try not to stop and measure my impact. I know that every day when I wake up and when I decide what I want to cover, I am doing it out of a unique passion. I care. And something is motivating me that's real. And I think people respond to that. And it's made a difference. Charlie is trending every day. He's trending every day. And that's not what they wanted. They wanted everyone to stop talking about him the moment Erica and Trump hugged on stage at the memorial. And she said, I forgive him. That was supposed to be the end.
That was so weird, too.
It was weird. Everything was weird. Everything has been strange. Most of all, his wife. And watching, there's this almost subhuman answer that they are trying to provide, which is, well, we have money. We have power, so just get in line. Like that's gonna be the cure here for all the skepticism, is just to apply more money, more influencers, more attacks on the people who are looking into it. I mean, Turning Point USA attacking Joe Kent. I mean, it's just for trying to investigate whether there could have been any foreign ties. Think about how bizarre that is.
Oh, I know.
And what's more bizarre is that they don't recognize it as bizarre when they do it. What's wrong with these people? The social IQ there is something that disturbs me. Their inability to understand that what they're doing is going to register to the public as remarkably suspicious. Case in point, did no one tell you that you shouldn't be on a Zoom call laughing about emojis 6 days after your husband got killed? Does someone have to tell you that? What has been rinsed out of you that you don't recognize that there's something deeply wrong with that? To get onto a Zoom call 11 days after he's been assassinated and say, we're moving on with Turning Point 2.0. My husband is dead, not to be morbid, but he's dead. That's acceptance.
Do you think that she had something to do with it? She was complicit? Or we were talking about this earlier. I came here from Boca Raton, Florida. It's the shallowest fucking place on the planet. You see 19-year-old girls with 76-year-old men every single day playing tonsil hockey and more, you know. And that's just what that place is. Do you think that maybe when they met, she was, you know, she just saw a paycheck, and she's a narcissist and had no feelings, no love, no nothing for him, just wanted to marry into a guy who's making $150 million a year?
Even if everything you just said was true, she was motivated by money to marry him. She didn't actually love him. Let's even add that she hated him secretly. right? When someone dies like that, you still have a human reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So who would you say is his arch nemesis? Nick Fuentes? Okay.
Mm.
He delivered a more impassioned response to what happened to Charlie than Charlie's wife did. Even your worst enemy. That's what I'm saying. Like, remove all that. Even if it's your worst enemy in life, when someone dies like that, it stirs you because you're like, okay, I didn't like this guy, but like, man, I didn't want him to die like that. You know, that's not how I wanted. I wanted to, you know, debate him. I was having fun hating him, whatever it is. That we couldn't get that from his wife. And when I go back, because I think I did suffer, my sister said to me, you know, right away, she came down, I couldn't eat. And she said to me, Candace, you need to recognize that to watch somebody that you know die like that, it's like a brain trauma. Like my brain was like trying, and I'm sure you understand this because military guys deal with death, I think, a lot more than we do, a traumatic death like this, but it's like a brain trauma. It's the only way you can describe it. And so I was not even paying attention to certain things that I now see with very clear eyes, like her speech, like you said, at the memorial. Erica actually doesn't really tell you anything about Charlie in that speech. It's a speech that's laying the groundwork for Turning Point 2.0. She tells you, every time she speaks about Charlie, she actually tells you about how great she is, how much he loved her, how he wrote her notes, how he wanted her to take over Turning Point USA. And she didn't write the speech. I learned that because they fired a bunch of people, that she didn't write the speech. Erica doesn't write her own speeches. The idea of not writing the eulogy, and that's why we don't learn anything about him, that we couldn't find on Wikipedia. There was no
substance.
There's no substance. Who was Charlie outside of Turning Point USA? You can't find out in that speech. All Charlie wanted was Turning Point USA 2.0. Turning Point. He cared about the students. He cared about looking after men like Tyler Robinson. I forgive him. This is what Turning Point's all about. Turning Point. How many times they say Turning Point? I mean, even at her podium speech, and I felt weird about it the first time when the 48 hours afterwards, she said, you want to help? Here's what you can do. Go to turningpointusa.com. Out of nowhere, an ad read. The first time she addresses the nation, go to turningpointusa.com.
Holy shit.
I can't even stomach the idea of being able to say something like that. But her whole idea was like, this is what he wanted. He wanted your money to go to Turning Point USA. And then you can contrast it with Vanessa Bryant's speech. And you see what a grieving widow looks like. And you listen to the story she told. I rewatched her speech. And I couldn't get through it because I loved Kobe. I loved Kobe Bryant. And I loved Kobe on the court. He was amazing at what he did. But how weird if she had given a speech of he dribbled every single day. And what he loved was the Lakers. And if you want to support the Lakers and support no, she said, we didn't even know Kobe. By the time you get through her speech, you realize you didn't know Kobe. I loved Kobe, who he was in the court. This is her husband, and she knew Kobe. And she shared that with us in her eulogy, Vanessa Bryant, who he was, the father, who he was, who he was at home. And you realize there's no humanity in Erica's speech. She doesn't want you to think of Charlie as anything other than a vehicle for Turning Point USA. And he was so much more than that. And I think that's why, in retrospect, people watched my show. And people like Teal Loren said, she tweeted, why do I feel like Candace Owens is the only one that actually cared about him? I didn't even realize that when I was just saying, sharing all of those little moments that I had with Charlie, that was unique. And that nobody was getting that from anybody who worked with him. They were just trying to encourage you to donate to Turning Point USA. This is what he would have wanted you to do.
Holy shit.
He wasn't yes, he loved building and he loved politics and all those things, but the actual Charlie was he was just so funny. Just the fact that they didn't tell you who Charlie was and how he was really good at voices and he could mimic anybody's voice, and he just had the best sense of humor. He really did. And everything was just left on the table. They didn't care. It was all about building what Erica was going to step into.
Man. Wow. Let's take a break. All right, Candace, let's get back to you. So 2007, looks like you got threats in your senior year.
Yeah.
What was that about?
I wrote about it in my first book. It was one of these moments that I think made me understand the media and how the media functions, sort of their ability to lie or sort of to create a narrative. And in retrospect, what happened could have just been understood in like a very high school way. I had a best friend who was a guy friend of mine. And I think he's gay, by the way. I think he ended up being gay in life. But he and I hung out all the time until I got my first boyfriend. And that was it. I was totally the typical standard, ditch all your friends, spend nonstop time with your boyfriend. And he was really angry and bitter about that. Not because he liked me or anything, but it was just, I guess, a disruption. And so one night, I guess, he rounds up a couple of guys who I had never met in my life, which is why it was scary when it happened, because I was thinking, I don't know who would leave me these messages. And they left, the boys. And I mean, the youngest was like 12 years old, I think, having his first beer. And they left like horrifically racist messages. Like, there's no question. We're going to put a bullet in the back of your head, like Rosa Parks. I mean,
holy shit.
It was a lot. And when it happened, I was like, what on earth? Like, who's calling me? I didn't think it was him, because the voices weren't his. He had different people in the car, but one of the people ended up being the mayor and then eventual governor of Connecticut's son, which turned it into a political thing. And suddenly now everyone wanted to cover this. I hadn't even reported it myself. I actually was just talking about it in a philosophy class in high school. And my teacher at the time, who's now the principal of the school, of the high school, he's great, loved him. He was like, this is absolutely unacceptable. Look, you're going in right now and reporting this. And so he went right into the principal's office and reported it. And then it felt like everything was taken completely out of my control. And it was like front page fodder, because it was, look what the mayor's son was involved in. I had never met the kid in my entire life. And the racism theme and the NAACP is showing up on the steps of my high school. They had never spoken to me, but the NAACP has got an NAACP, so that kind of shaped my ideas about them as well. Because no one cared about how we felt at that point. No one cared about really what probably should have happened is he probably should have been forced to apologize, and they probably, rather than smearing him as a racist, I mean, was he a racist? No, we were best friends. That's kind of the point. Did he do something and say something racist? Yes. You will be surprised how, when you're trying to hurt someone, how easily available it is to use a racist term, even when you're mad. I mean, there's comedic skits about that. Everyone turns into a racist as soon as someone cuts them off in a car, right? Like, this Spanish guy just cut me off. You know what I mean? Suddenly we're all racist when we're angry. There's some truth to it. You know, you catch yourself. Yeah, you're sexist too. Woman driver, like female. Oh, he's a Chinese man behind the wheel. And so it was, you know, the micro of that, pretty much. And more traumatizing than the messages was then having my life completely ripped from me and becoming like this micro celebrity victim, right? And nobody cared. And everyone's life got ruined in a different way. The kids I know ended up getting into a lot of trouble. I think the kid that was my best friend, I ended up leaving school for a bit and homeschooling, just because I wanted, while the FBI was investigating the authenticity of the message, as if it was, I'm sure that was being pressed by
the FBI got involved?
Yeah, they did. And I think it was just because of the element of the politician who was trying to pretend his son didn't do it, as if what I called myself casually, like, and left these messages. I don't know why all of that was even necessary. They should have just confessed, but I think they tried to get away with it in like a weird, stupid way. And the kids ended up getting arrested, and it was definitely not, just wasn't dealt with in the right way. And it became this really big thing that ruined a lot of lives. And I think for a kid to be branded as a racist for doing something one night is really heavy. It's really heavy,
Mhm.
especially when it's just fundamentally not true, right? Like I said, he wouldn't have been my best friend if he was a racist. And I will maintain that he was not a racist. He did something really stupid and said a lot of really racist stuff when he was drunk. People make mistakes. It's hard, especially now in today's environment, to allow kids to make mistakes. Everything is so recorded. I mean, you see what they do if they find one tweet that someone sent that said, the N-word when they were 11 years old. And I remember sitting with my younger cousin one time, and he plays, what's the game? Not Grand Theft Auto, but it's one that's like it, where there's like a lot of guys love it. It's Call of Duty. Call of Duty. And he literally was 12 years old. And he's in the chat. Have you ever seen this Call of Duty chat? I'm sure you have, maybe. And it's unbelievable. It's just like this whole, and he's in there saying whatever and saying Allah Akbar and throwing a bomb. And he's like a 12-year-old kid. And I'm just sitting here going, okay, this is just 12-year-olds just trying everything out, saying what they can. You're going to push boundaries. I mean, it's a part of coming of age. It's like you push boundaries. And, Louis C.K. did a really good skit talking about what the phones are taking away from people. And it's this natural stage where people want to try out being mean. And if you say something to someone's face and you see how they react, and then you realize you don't really feel good being mean, it doesn't actually feel good to be mean. It allows you to kind of edit yourself as a human being. And things are really easy when you add technology as a layer. It's easy to tweet something stupid. It's easy to, say something vicious in the comment section. And we're now dealing with a generation of kids who are growing up terminally online. Whereas when I was growing up, my dad had a beeper, right? And so I don't have to think about the record where I'm sure I experimented with being mean in middle school. And social media has added another dynamic to it. So I kind of reflected on that. And again, don't regret any of the lessons from it. But I really do think that it's just seeing the obsession to politicize, and the NAACP and the Democratic mayor looking to try to cover this up. It kind of gave me an early introduction to what politics is, which is not really about solutions, but
you saw
rather
it right through all that shit at 17 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I lived it, and it didn't help me. And so also even just the politics of victimhood. This is a victim. Who wants to be a victim?
A lot of people.
Yeah. Well, because money is made, and that is kind of the NAACP's grift. In that is, find me a black victim, and I'll show up and be in front of the cameras screaming about how racism still exists. And by the way, people are always going to say racist words and sexist words, and I am just not a big believer in that. I'm not a believer at all in the idea that this is stopping me from getting from point A to point B. It's not really my business if somebody doesn't like black people. Personally, I think everyone's just gotten too nosy. You're allowed to, when people ask me why I don't find, the inflammatory language to be such a threat, and it's just dumb. I find a lot of it to be really dumb. And if you're somebody who thinks I don't want to ever date a black girl or a Spanish girl or a white girl, have at it. Man, it doesn't really impact my life. And so a lot of the hyper focus on that is because it keeps people constantly divided and warring and forming an opinion about stuff that doesn't actually empower any of us. And the people that are intentionally constantly stoking the flames of that are the people at the top, of course.
Does the NAACP actually do anything for the
No.
black community?
No.
Nothing.
Mm-mm. They just find another victim and raise money. Of course, if your entire bottom line relies upon racism existing, you don't ever want to go out. Duh, common sense. It's sort of like, you even saw this with GLAAD, to give another example. Their whole grift was all about gay marriage, and then they got gay marriage. And they were like, oh. Got any more letters in that LGB bag? And they're like, actually, here's a T, a Q, an R,
Let
an
us
S.
invent some.
Yeah, exactly. So these people are not actually looking to solve problems. They're looking to constantly have a problem that needs to be solved so that they can fundraise off of it.
Damn,
They
what a
create
shame.
problems.
I mean, I feel like racial derogatory racial terms. I mean, it seems like they've completely lost the weight.
Yeah.
Because they've overused it.
Yeah.
Everything in every
Possible
every
regard.
demographic.
Yeah. And you just also we just need people to be tougher. Like, you'll be fine if somebody calls you the N-word. You'll be fine if somebody calls you a racial slur. Like, we just need to kind of build tougher people than to think that they're all coming apart because they've been called a name. Like, I want my kids to be tougher than that, you know?
Why do you think do you think it's for the money, the donations, whatever it is, like the
100%.
NAACP, or do you think it's bigger than that? Do you think, I mean...
It can get bigger than that.
The divide and conquer.
Absolutely. BLM was that example. I mean, when they get going, they can cause people to be at each other's throats, warring. They will cause a civil war before they get people looking at the corruption of what they're doing. And that's been tale as old as time.
Who do you think they is? They is a lot of different people.
Well, it depends on what we're talking about. You know, there's totally different categories of topics that I cover on the show. You know, I think the biggest issue that we have right now in America, without question, is Israel. And the satanic people who support what they're doing. The bloodthirst, the control, they behave like a mafia. And I'm talking specifically about Zionists. And sometimes people will say, well, when you say Zionists, you mean Jews. I want to be very clear. The Judeo-Christians can be some of the most toxic, gang-like people who are part of the same apparatus. So you actually can't isolate it. But I have found, which has been the experience, I think, of a lot of people, especially over the last year, this is a gang. This is a mafia. This is not normal. What they did, the pressure they put Charlie under, what they did to me, what they're currently doing to Megyn Kelly. I mean, Megyn Kelly, I think, is probably the greatest example. What did Megyn Kelly do? Like, Megyn Kelly was like, I'm a Zionist. And they were like, we don't care. You say something about Tucker Carlson right now, or we will destroy you.
And you.
That's a mafia.
And you.
Yeah. And me. That's a mafia. That is, you are with us or you are against us. And I faced that, obviously, in my own life and saw that, and I called it out for what it is. And by the way, we're late to the party. Michael Jackson was trying to say what it was. Kanye West was trying to say what it was. They lived through this mafia. And finally, we have people understanding that.
What did Michael Jackson say?
Michael Jackson had a list of the 6 Jewish people who he said were messing with his life. Rabbi Shmuley was on the list. I can't think of the other people that were on it, and that they called him an anti-Semite. They called him an anti-Semite because he was talking about control in Hollywood and people that he was fighting for control.
Who's Rabbi Shmuley?
He's just a crazy, crazy, deranged human.
Am I supposed to know him?
He had a lot to do with the Michael Jackson stuff because he called himself Michael Jackson's rabbi, and really kind of is just a person that is constantly threatening people out in the open, and is somehow allowed to do it because of what his father did for the state of Israel. And often you will find that thread of the people who are the most deranged and the most psychopathic, and yet somehow seem to be allowed to function in society. You just have to figure out who their parents were, who their uncles were, and they've done something for the state of Israel. So they're like in the Zionist mafia, as I describe it. It is a mafia. There's no question in my life. It's in my mind that it is a gang.
What was Kanye saying?
Well, Kanye, he notoriously tweeted that he was going to go DEFCON 3 on some Jewish people that had been toying with his life. And nobody cared when he dropped the actual text messages from his trainer, Harley Pasternak, saying that he would put him back in the hospital and he'd never be able to see his kids again. He drops the messages. We talk about a gangster threat. Like, here's how it's going to go. Harley Pasternak is a trainer. And Kanye was basically, before I was awake to this possibility, I was very much around him when this was all going down, when he tweeted this and when Adidas pulled his contract. He was at my house and all the stuff that was going on. And he was basically, I just thought I had no idea what he was talking about. I was like very green to this concept of someone saying that their life was a Truman Show. And he was like, basically like, are you a real person? Like, even to me, are you a real person? Like, and I'm like, are you good? Like, what do you mean? Like, you think I'm a character in a show? Are you real? He was going through this. And at its core is he felt like someone was directing his life and that the people had been controlling him and were, he was going to stand up to these people. But Harley Pasternak was his trainer. I've covered this on my show. He's got a very checkered past. A lot of his clients have died in suspicious circumstances. And he also was like former Canadian CIA, like psychology or something. And then like decided to go be a gym trainer in LA or in Hollywood. And these are handlers. Handlers are real. This is a part of the onion of the Zionist mafia, in my view, is the handlers who are supposed to see if they can bring you back to the side of reason. Can't you see the error of your ways? And even when you're completely right, their job is to gaslight you into thinking that you're wrong. And I've had my experience. I believe that I had handlers and didn't recognize it. But Kanye, when he kind of really woke up to that, Harley Pasternak, he shared the message that Harley Pasternak, his trainer, gym trainer, wrote to him. And he said, you know, here's how it's going to go. Maybe he said, you're going to say sorry or something. And then the message reads, or I'll take you back to Cedar Sinai, because Harley Pasternak is the one that got Kanye put on a Psych 5150 hold when they drugged him. And he said, and we'll take you back to, I think he described it as La La Land. And he said, and play dates with your kids will never be the same. We'll drug you out of your mind.
Holy shit.
It's in writing. The media just let it go. And said Kanye was crazy. I said, no, Harley Pasternak's crazy. Who the hell is this man? That's not how a gym trainer talks. Who is this guy?
Holy shit.
And so when stars, Hollywood stars, have been screaming and trying to tell you that something is wrong and that they suddenly wake up to the fact that they're in a prison, the first thing that happens is another layer of the onion comes out and calls them crazy. That's how that works. They say this person's having an emotional breakdown. They diagnose the people. And the reason for that is because it was that strategy of modern psychology was developed by Sigmund Freud, who was a Satanist, full stop. He was into Jewish mysticism, the occult, Sebastian Frankism, and he began gaslighting kids who actually were being raped by their parents in Vienna. That is the true story of Sigmund Freud. There's a book on it by the man who controlled his archives called The Assault on Truth. This is a book written by a Jewish man, so there's no anti-Semitism in this book, and he worked under Anna Freud and was due to become the next director of a Sigmund Freud archives. So he was a fan of psychology. He believed in Sigmund Freud's theory, which was that kids are attracted to their parents, wacky. And then he learned to speak German so that he could read Sigmund Freud's notes and his letters that the public has never seen. And he realized that Sigmund Freud was a complete fraud. And he rang the alarm on it and said he literally saw and knew that these kids were being abused, that these kids were being raped. In some cases in Vienna, they were being raped and murdered in such satanic, vicious, occult, ceremonies that they died. And he would then go to the morgue. He observed their injuries. He knew it was real. And he lied because he was protecting his pedophile friends. And so they developed, Sigmund Freud's contribution to society is gaslighting. He created gaslighting. So you can draw a direct line from Sigmund Freud to Hollywood, to modern propaganda. His nephew is Edward Bernays, the World War II propaganda, all of that, that's Edward Bernays, to PR that we have today. That the Freud family is still the biggest PR family in the world. They do PR for the royal family. I mean, Matthew Freud. And this is where we're at, is gaslighting is another onion piece of a layer. So when you realize someone's wronged you and you say, this is wrong, they then send people to try to make you think that you're the crazy person. And I dealt with that firsthand. Saw how the mafia moves, trying to convince me that I had done something wrong when I tweeted genocide is always wrong. The messages were insane that I received. I had to read my tweet like 1,000 times and go, did I say something in here? Like, genocide is always wrong.
You said genocide is wrong, and then...
Genocide is always wrong.
Mm-hmm. Holy shit. Who do you think your handlers were?
I think...
how close to you were they?
They were all, it was very apparent that it was all around me. I think probably the most skilled handler, and was Marissa. I didn't realize until that moment that, she messaged me and said, like, I want to help you. You don't want to go down this route. If you go down this route, I can't protect you. And I stood up for myself and the messages. And I said, Marissa, go down what route? Like, what am I doing here that's wrong? You know, I'm a grown adult woman. I know what I'm saying. I believe genocide is always wrong. I mean, this was all via text message, so I still have it.
Who's Marissa?
Marissa is the CEO of Prager University, PragerU. And then, of course, the Daily Wire, who were trying to convince me that I owed Ben an apology for saying genocide is always wrong. I mean, watching that psychological element of them trying to convince me that I had done something wrong was insane. And Dave Rubin was messaging me. It was just full on, everyone trying to explain to me, like, let me help you. It's always the approach of like, I'm your friend and I'm trying to help you realize the error of your ways. And it's just full blown gaslighting. And I stood firm on it and was like, no, I know what I wrote. And I meant every word of it. Genocide is always wrong. Still stand by that.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. How do you hire?
Well,
That's like the most. I get so fucking paranoid when I have to hire. I mean, everybody hates hiring.
Yeah.
I really fucking hate hiring.
Yeah.
Because I don't trust anybody.
Yeah. I trust my gut.
How do you find your people?
Well, I've benefited from the fact that I've had the same people on my team for over 5 years now. So when I got fired from a Daily Wire, my team came with me, which was a tremendous vote of confidence at the time because we didn't know. We didn't have anything. We were just sort of like, look, we can't give you any benefits. We don't know if this is going to work, obviously. And the Daily Wire at that time was paying, a lot of money. They had benefits. They had security. And, my editor came over, my producer came over, technical director. And so it was a tremendous vote of confidence that they came over with me. So I know that they believe in me and they believe in what I'm doing. So I'm lucky that we don't have a high turnover rate, and I haven't had to be trusting. And I'm just very grateful, I think, for to have that. And we're tight. We have a good time. We have fun. I believe in SEAL Team 6. I like to keep the team small and effective. I don't care about, appearances and having 90 people working for me and, I can dress myself. So it's a small team. And when we do have to hire, I go with my gut. We recently hired a new director, and he's been fantastic. And the reason why he was great is he just totally sits outside of the entire wheelhouse of politics. So he was just a burst of fresh air and, loves to research, just a great positive attitude. And you have to want to be around the people too. You spend a lot of time, you're fighting a lot of battles with them. And so you want to keep them motivated and have a good time and be able to laugh and enjoy each other, have the same values in life. I think everybody on my team is in a really good place in life, like fulfilled by their relationships, by their marriages. So it feels good.
Good for you.
Yeah, we're in a good spot.
Good for you. All right, let's go back a couple years. Where'd you go to college after?
I went to the University of Rhode Island. That incident in high school happened when it was in my senior year. So it kind of threw my entire senior year into chaos. And I'm lucky I even applied to college. I almost didn't even apply because it was so crazy. And URI was like close enough. I just applied to URI, got in, went there.
What'd you want to study?
English and journalism. I have a double major in English and journalism, so I think it's quite fitting. Yeah.
Where do we go from there?
Where did I go from there? So actually, the story is I finished my degree later because Sallie Mae had a huge collapse and didn't give me my loan for my senior year of college. I have senior year issues, I've realized. I've got some senior year issues. And so I had to figure it out. Sallie Mae basically was like, you have 1 year before we start knocking on your door and demanding your firstborn child. I had $100K in student loan debt. They weren't going to pay for it last year. Crazy. I could wax poetic about the industry of student loans. It's so predatory. finding poor people and getting them to pledge just to be in debt for the rest of their lives. But I then moved to New York City. I had no plan. I picked up a job nannying, and was like, while I was nannying, if I could just start applying for jobs, because these loans were starting to haunt me. I needed to make some money and get out of debt. And so I was like, if I get my foot in the door anywhere, I can sell myself. I can learn anything. I'm a really hard worker. And my second interview at a private equity firm, I saw that like they pay their assistants really well, these private equity guys. And so my second interview at a private equity firm, I got hired to be a second assistant and hired on the spot, which was fantastic. And then I stayed with that company for 4 years. And when I left, I was like the vice president of the administration.
Wow.
They were fantastic to me. I was treated really well. And I got to travel the world because it was one of those jobs where I had to do everything. Everything. I mean, his wife.
Did you just say you went from second assistant to VP of the entire company in 4 years?
VP of the administration. It was a small company, so I don't want to make it wasn't like there was like 1,000 employees. It was like almost like a family style trade desk, a true private equity structure. I mean, maybe 18 employees, which was nice. It actually is part of the reason why I like the idea of a small team, because I saw it work. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they were killers. We worked really hard, and I got to meet a lot of really cool people. They invested also in movies, and there was a lot of traveling involved. So I got to see the world on somebody else's dime, which was great too, because he also, when he had crises happening in his personal life, he really trusted me to just learn anything and figure it out, whether it was building a house in Montauk, whether it was, I mean, I ended up with Snoop Dogg in Croatia. You know what I mean? Like there were so many crazy adventures, and no 2 days were the same. So I had a fantastic time while I was there. And I was there to pay off my student loans. And so every time bonus season came around, I would just ask him to pay another chunk. You know, hey, can you pay another chunk, pay another chunk? And he did. I was working for the principal there. And so they also even put me through, I went down to learn Spanish. I moved to Costa Rica for, was it a 8-week program? And you live with a family that doesn't speak any English, because he had a wife that was Spanish speaking. And so she hired a lot of Spanish staff. And I was like, well, I got to learn the language. I can't manage the staff if I don't know the language. And so because they traveled, you know, everyone goes to Montauk or the Hamptons for the summer. I was like, I found a program. Can you pay for me to go down there? I'll learn Spanish. And so I did that. And
so you speak Spanish?
Yeah, well, I'm now really, really rusty, but I was fluent in Spanish, and I can understand Spanish though. And so, yeah, I mean, I really lived a lot in those 4.5 years that I was there, saw a lot of the world, and just, I always wanted to grow. I like learning. I like focusing. Anything that I put my mind to, I feel like I can learn. And that was kind of my introduction to, I mean, there's no place, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. That's the expression. And I live by that. I really do believe that, because it's such a tough city.
What were you doing at Vogue?
So that's when I was interning initially. I was interning, and I did the whole magazine circuit. So I did 17 magazine, I did Glamour magazine, and I did Vogue, which was the big one that everyone wants to get into. And it was, of course, as somebody who loved to write, I majored in English and journalism. That was my glamorous idea, was that I was going to go move to New York City and, I don't know, be Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. I don't know what my idea was. It was, in retrospect, a little bit cartoonish. And then when I got there, I just culturally was like, yeah, I don't really want to do this. You know, this is not where I want to work. The girls were so vicious, so hungry, so, you know, but I learned a lot. I mean, they would have fond memories of me. I worked my butt off, and that was why I kind of graduated up to the magazines and was the head of the intern closet, so to speak, at Vogue, and made great friends. So I've been a lot of places, really, when I think about it.
See that.
New York was tough. It was fun. It was a lot of lessons learned, and they even, the private equity firm even let me take, because I wanted to learn a little bit about private equity. You know, I became a notary. Because anytime they were like, we need this, I was like, how many times am I going to get a notary in here? Why don't I just become a notary? That's the kind of person I am. Like, so I took the test and became a notary. And then did this NYU accounting course as well, because I wanted to understand a little bit more about the finance side of what we were doing, because I was interested in the deals. They were really all so different that were being brought. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
You were liberal growing up.
Yeah, I mean, liberal in the youth sense. I think it's weird when my husband says he was always conservative. I'm like, what's wrong with you? He's the rare person who was always conservative. And I was liberal, like in the way that you don't know anything and it just kind of sounds better, even. Are you a liberal or conservative? I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal. What do you mean? And I think anytime.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Before you have bills, life is it's so easy to be like idealistic when you don't have to pay bills and you don't really comprehend the issues. Then you lean into the emotional issues and like live and let live. You love these like stupid bumper sticker expressions. You see it all so nice. It fits your like AIM profile, like, oh, let me find a quotation to put on my going away message on AIM. Like the youth, you're liberal when you're young. There's that expression. Gosh, who says the expression that if you're not a liberal when you're young, you don't have a heart. If you're not a conservative when you die, you don't have a brain. So, then you're paying taxes and you're like, hey, where's this money going? Like, why am I working so hard? And then your philosophy changes a bit as you get older. But I never was politically inclined, so I never voted Democrat. Okay. I would have very much described myself as a liberal. And if you had asked me any topic, I would have been across the Democratic Party line if I was actually voting, but I wasn't.
What switched you?
I had this curious set of circumstances that brought me to like something that was known as the Gamergate conspiracy.
What is that?
Honestly, I still couldn't tell you, to be honest with you, because I am not a gamer, as I just said. But I was like Alice in Wonderland and was trying to, I put up a Kickstarter to put together a company. I had this idea after I paid down all of my student loans and I had a little savings account that I wanted to start. And it was maybe all heart, no brain, a company that would get kids to be able to like get in trouble on the internet without having these consequences, like being arrested. And so my bright idea was that I was going to create this company called Social Autopsy. And if they got in trouble online, they wouldn't like get into legal trouble. And rather than that, it would sort of help them, like, I don't know, maybe get suspended or something. Like, it was like my way of trying to right the wrongs, maybe misguided from what happened in high school, totally misguided. And I was very green. And I put it up on Kickstarter and I got this weird call from this girl called Zoe Quinn. Gamers who are watching this will know exactly who this is. They'll be like, yes, the gamer, that's how I knew you or whatever. And it was really weird because she was telling me she was a victim and that I couldn't make this company. She misunderstood what we were even thinking about doing. She thought we're going to build a technology, like a Silicon Valley technology to unmask trolls on the internet, which was not.
Okay, Moon, what's your thoughts? Anything?
No, I'm just relaxing and listening away.
Okay, if ever you want to stop or whatever.
Oh, I leave that up to you, dear. You're the one who has to play it.
I don't care. Like I said, I'll probably be up all night. And I'm going to listen to it, so it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, I'm just laying here, just relaxing and listening.
All right.
At all what we were doing. We had no capability to do this. We had a splash page. That's why we were on Kickstarter. I had no connections to be able to do that. But her call, she was saying she was a victim, but it was very obvious she was threatening me. And I didn't know anything about this girl or Gamergate. And long story short, after I hang up the phone call with her, I start getting hit with a bunch of threats online. And it was very obvious to me that this girl was directing the threats. Just my gut instinct that something was wrong with this girl. And I landed myself into the middle of a huge Gamergate war that was being covered extensively by Breitbart. I'm really just always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so suddenly next thing, a Washington Post is calling me. I'm not known at this time. They're calling me And they're asking, and I'm thinking, these are my friends. Like, I went to school, Washington Post. That is the top of the line journalism. I learned this in school. Like, what? I'm so flattered to be able to give this interview. And I spoke to this girl, Caitlin Dewey was her name. I'll never forget that. And she was so nice on the phone. And I said to her, yeah, and I explained to her what happened. I'm like, I really don't think that girl Zoe Quinn is telling the truth because, you know, she was a victim and said that she was harassed by gamers. And so she kind of built a whole 501c3 platform based off of that. And I guess the Gamergate conspiracy was that she was actually leading an army of trolls. And that was just my experience with her in 4 seconds. You know, and I had no idea what was going on or what the backstory was. Just like, that girl is led trolls against me, and that girl wasn't a victim. And boy, was that a big statement. Anyway, the Washington Post, after they interviewed me, Caitlin Dewey, also New York Magazine, I believe it was, or the New Yorker, Jesse Signal, or Single was his name, Signal, they lied and smeared me after I thought these guys were my friends. And I told them the truth, and they were protecting this girl, Zoe Quinn. It was so weird. And this was the entire thrust of the Gamergate conspiracy, was that this girl was being artificially protected, that she was actually leading an army of trolls and pretending that we needed to do something about men and gamers on the internet. And this is kind of like the preamble to the Hillary Clinton campaign, which became very much we kind of got into this anti-masculinity, men are toxic. It was kind of the preamble to that. And I think she had a real fear that if I had created this technology which could unmask trolls, that it was going to expose that everything the gamer conspiracy theorists were saying was true.
Wow.
That was my read on the situation. And so she was being protected, and I never really, I'm just not a gamer. I just didn't know. But the only people that actually gave me a fair shake in the media, who I spoke to, was Breitbart, which was crazy because I thought they were the white supremacist, my Connecticut Democratic surroundings, blue liberal-ish mind. I was really reticent to speak to them. And then they wrote the truth about what I had said. So I was kind of what the heck is going on? Why is up, down, and down, up? And at the same time, Trump was running. And so I was kind of questioning my allegiance to leftist media, so to speak, because of how I was treated. And I didn't really comprehend when I just told them the truth about this random chick. And Trump, they were saying, was a racist, a white supremacist, all of this stuff. And I was willing to at least listen to the other side because I now did not trust the Washington Post. And so I decided to just listen to a Trump speech without having it filtered for me by CNN or MSNBC. And I heard his pitch to Black America, and he was in Dimondale, Michigan at the time. And he said, Black America, and he sort of listed all of the ways in which Black Americans are struggling, the statistics, just the raw statistics. And he said, why don't you just take a chance on me? What do you have to lose? Just do something different. You vote Democrat every 4 years. And I was fair elevator pitch. I like it, whatever. Still not going to get my vote, but whatever. And then I pivoted to my trusted sources over at CNN, and Don Lemon was crying over, and it was he looked Black America in the face and he said, you are poor, you are pathetic, you can't do this. And I was that didn't happen at all. That's not what he said. He gave a kind of reasonable pitch. You've been doing the same thing. Why don't you try something different? And so that began a huge, man, could I have had this thing wrong? Are Republicans not all racist and backwards? Is there something I'm missing here? And me just sort of being the naturally curious person that I am, who wants to learn more, I kind of privately began that pursuit, and it led me to Thomas Sowell and his work and his books, and it changed my life. I really love Thomas Sowell. I feel like he's my private tutor who I've never met.
Right on. Do you still consider yourself to be a conservative?
I'm always going to be a conservative. I actually realized I always was a conservative. I was raised with my grandfather. He was conservative. A Republican?
Yeah,
Different.
I guess there is a difference now, huh?
And I guess there always has been, because I was liberal, but I wasn't a Democrat. I didn't vote Democrat. Or I thought I was liberal, but actually I was raised conservatively, and my values were always conservative, and I am a conservative. I think it works. I think family works, and that's the most, what are we conserving at the end of the day is the question. And to me, it's traditional families. I think that's our best guard against the government.
I think so too. Honestly, I think that's almost might be the only thing that we really I don't know. You had said something earlier about, we were talking about, do you feel like it's your responsibility to do what you do? And then you'd said you really trust your gut when you're hiring people. I don't know, man. I trust my gut, but maybe I don't fucking trust my gut because the lead up to this last election was just all lies.
Something happened to Trump, right?
But something happened to all of them.
Yeah. Well,
every single one of them.
Who? Who else?
Except Joe Kent.
What did you expect from Marco Rubio?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely
exactly what we see.
Exactly. The person that I think I placed stock in was Trump. And we got played. There's no other way to say it. We got, it's kind of shocking the ways that he lied. And so you have to then go, why? This is nothing like Trump 1.0. Trump 2.0 is totally different. And the obvious answer is I think that Trump desperately, by any means necessary, wanted to win again. Felt the election, like many people do feel, was stolen from him in 2020. COVID, changing the way we vote. I totally agree with that, by the way. And his entire life's mission then transformed into, I will do anything to win again, including making a deal with the devil and selling my soul.
That's what you think happened.
And he took $300 million from Miriam Adelson, something that he once mocked Marco Rubio from doing. He tweeted once about Sheldon Adelson owning Marco Rubio. And you don't take $300 million from people who run the Vegas.
A very generous woman.
You don't take $300 million from people who run Vegas and tell them no about anything. That's how it works. That you could talk about that in the micro level. This stuff growing up, basic survival skills, like when people, you don't borrow money from people unless you know who they are. And that can apply to gangs, it's time to pay up. And so Trump is not his own man, plain and simple. Trump is not running this administration. It wasn't a gift. It wasn't, hey, I really love what you're doing. Here's $300 million. It came with contingencies, demands, one of it being that they wanted to annex the West Bank, which was something that was told to me by Charlie and Andrew Colbert, who were present for that meeting between Miriam Adelson and Donald Trump, that she said that. I'll cut you this check. But when we want to annex the West Bank, that's what they wanted in exchange. So now I think he probably has a little bit of regret taking the money.
You think so?
I think so. I don't think he likes not being his own man. I think that's what a lot of the lashing out is about. I think Trump, at his core, wants to be liked, and I think he knows he's not liked right now.
You think he'll ever be liked again?
No.
Me neither.
Mm-mm.
How much wealth has he amassed since he took this presidency?
The better question is, how much more do they need? How much more does the Trump family need? When Ivanka swimming to Albania, how much more money do you guys need? When is enough enough?
Never.
Yeah, and that's why you feel like they fully have given themselves in, because none of them were like that before.
You don't think so?
No, I think I spent a lot of time with Don Trump Jr., and he was a real person. And he was certainly a very close friend of Charlie's. He shocked me the most after the assassination because I knew Don. And I challenged right away. I challenged him. I said, if Don Jr., who hunts, that's the guy, he knows the wilderness. If Don Jr. comes out and says he believes that Charlie's neck stopped a 30-06 bullet, I'll back off. I don't think Don Jr. has even spoken about Charlie's assassination since. I think a lot of people are going to go to hell for an eternity. I know a lot of people are going to go to hell for an eternity. But the level of, talked about the mourning process of realizing that Charlie gave so much of his life to put those people into power. contending with that level of betrayal transformed me.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, no, I don't consider myself to be a Republican. Yes, I do consider myself to be a conservative.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't even know what the fuck this means. I don't even know if I'll ever vote again.
That's how I feel.
Probably not. I just, look, going through this and uncovering everything that we've uncovered, nothing's changed. I don't know about you, but for me, it's a fuck ton of stress. Being associated with these people, now they have my number, they can reach me. I fucking hate that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what was it all for? This shit that we see? Do you think this needed to happen?
What needed to happen?
This veil to be lifted?
Yeah, I have to believe that. I have to believe it. I am, at my core, an eternal optimist, and I don't want to give in to, despair. And I have to believe that Charlie was right, that his death was going to happen because it would be tied to a global awakening. And I've seen that. I've seen the seeds of that. I've seen the sprouts of that. I see the incredible audience that I have amassed around the world. I mean, going to Russia recently and realizing how big the Becoming Brigitte series was, I had no idea.
I have a question.
There is true evil being exposed, and it was easy for evil
Is stuff away?
to control the world when we were dumb and stupid and thought it was impossible. Right? Some of these conspiracies. I mean, the fact that we are having real discussions about Freemasonry, about the occult, about true demons, about what demonic possession is, that you can sit here
I think
across
stuff might be
from
away.
Father Rip
I'll
River.
wait.
And I read the comments, and that was a transformative episode, by the way. But to see all the comments of I need to go to church now. This episode made me want to go to church. Not, this guy's crazy. What's he on? The Exorcist is just a movie, just a Hollywood movie. That's uplifting. I think that's uplifting, and it had to happen. I think we as a society needed shock treatment. And Charlie's death was shocking in so many ways, not just the death.
All right, guys. Unfortunately, I gotta go.
That's okay. I had a question anyways.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
Are you okay? Have a good night.
Was the question for Steph Tone?
It was for anyone.
Oh.
I put it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what the difference between a Republican and a conservative is.
I think a conservative is somebody that well, shoot.
You don't have to have the right answer. I'll go with, you can tell me anything and I'll believe you.
Well, I'm trying to think. I think a conservative is more like, I don't know. I picture them very they're very. Now this is how I picture it. I don't know how other people do. They're more religious in a lot of sense. They're
A conservative is.
yeah. I feel like they're more. I don't know. When I think of them, they're more like, I don't know.
The American dream.
Yes, that's I guess what I'm. And then a liberal is more just free spirited, helping, wanting to help everybody else, wanting to be, more involved that way.
But a Republican and a conservative
would be like, well, my money's my money. I'm not sharing it. That's how I look at it.
Not Democrat and Republican, not conservative and liberal. But what's the difference between a Republican and a conservative?
Oh, shoot.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I just feel like
most
they're
conservatives
more
are
greedy.
Republicans.
Sometimes I feel like Republicans are really greedy, and they don't, you know what I mean? Because all you hear is, everybody can't be on welfare, this and that. They're very tight on the money. They don't want to, I don't know. I guess maybe that's how I look at them when I see it. And where a liberal is more about, we need to help one another. They might have some real extremists, but they're more like, let's help one another. Let's, I don't know.
Oh, great. We have Megan in the chat. Um, um, okay, because something that was said in whatever, I guess Candace was saying, or the other dude, they said like, they're like, yeah, I'm conservative, but I'm never going to vote again.
Oh,
Like they were
that's
saying,
weird.
or they're like, I'm conservative, but I'm not Republican, for example. I don't know. They said something along the lines of that.
Well, isn't it almost the same thing?
Well, I thought they were parallels,
Yeah, me
but
too.
and the thing is I'm a pretty apolitical person, so which is why I get these questions because I'm like, well, I don't understand because I'm pretty open.
Uh-huh.
And so that's why, like, I'm curious, like, would somebody who, for example, is very liberal or somebody who's very conservative, would they have a very strong answer to it? Because I feel like somebody can consider themselves conservative but not Republican. But I don't personally know the difference. Like the same how somebody can consider themselves Democratic but not liberal. But I'm not personally good at recognizing that difference.
Oh, wait, what did they say? Stacey says conservatives are historical, not radical. Okay. So conservatives clutch your pearls. Conservatives equal clutch your pearls. They're more historical, not radical. So then what the hell is the other? Okay.
And I'm not here to have some sort of philosophical talk if you're not into that right now. But
Yeah. Live and let live is a liberal. Well, yeah, that's how live and let live. Like they're more free. They're more, yeah. So, okay, I might be thinking the same response as some what Megan is saying in here. I'm not, you know what I mean? I never put so much into it as much, but I just
I
thought they
haven't
were almost
either.
the same. I thought they were just almost the same thing. I think a conservative is somebody that's very private, more. I mean, they're Republican because they vote the same. I'm assuming they all vote the same. Oh,
Yeah, see, and I agree with Megan, but sorry, can you hear my dog barking? I'll mute for a second if you can.
no, you're fine. I have three.
Um, she really likes TV and she barks at things on the TV.
That's cute.
Um, it's real weird. She really likes to watch TV. Um, but only at night will she watch TV. She likes her like not late night shows. Um, but I don't know what to because they're talking about the Charlie Kirk stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually when you delve into the Charlie Kirk stuff, it leads into a political, foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little bit apolitical. I'm all like, well, what did the bullets say? I'm a little bit like all about the conspiracy behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But something that they had said, and I wish I could have Steph replay it, but she can't. They had said like, I'm never going to vote again.
Yeah, yeah.
But they had said something like, but I'm still conservative. But I'm never going to vote again. And it's almost like they're detaching themselves from the Republican Party. Which is interesting to me. And so it's making me kind of recognize that Republican and conservative might be two different things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there are, because I think I'd like to say a Republican's more, well, would be more radical than a conservative, or maybe I'm getting it mixed up. I just don't know. I thought they're almost like the same thing. They vote the same way. It's kind of like a liberal votes the same way as a Democrat, and a conservative will vote the same way as a Republican.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so
And
I
sis,
kind of
like I
think,
said, you can say whatever you want right now, and I'll be like, yeah, that sounds right.
well, I'm still trying to think about it because it's like, because I mean, that's how I've always pictured it. Like they would always stick to the same voting, vote for the same people almost. I mean, not maybe not 100% the same, but I mean, but they have the same ideology in the sense of, you know,
Yeah, ideology. I think that's a really significant thing to keep in mind.
yes, they have a lot of the same characteristics of their belief system when it comes to politics, just like a liberal and a Democrat. Because you got the you have the Democratic Party, but then you have the Liberal Party, which is the more extreme, right? So it's almost the same thing as a Republican and conservative. You got the Democrat and the Liberal. It's about the same way of voting.
Yeah, and so something, if we were to dissect whatever Steph was playing, I would want to dissect whatever they were saying is I'm never going to vote again, but like I'm still a
Yeah.
conservative because that's
Was that
something that's
Candace
abnormal
Owens?
for me.
So did Candace Owens say that she was never going to vote again?
I think both of them were saying, yeah, I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to vote again, but I'm still conservative. They said something that was really contradictory, and that's what prompted me to write what's the difference between a Republican and a conservative, actually asking in the chat. They said something that was really contradictory.
Right, right. Because I known Candace Owens has always been she's always been a Republican. I remember her always fighting on the Republican side, going to Congress. I mean, like hard. Like she was hard. She was kind of like Charlie Kirk.
Yeah,
Very,
and remind me, because I'm still learning all the playing parts in Charlie Kirk. Candace Owens, who is she in comparison to the
so
situation?
Candace Owens was very close, very, very close. They were like best friends. I mean, um, gosh, I think Candace Owens was still in college or just graduated. Charlie Kirk recruited her, um, and she started kind of working for him at the Turning Point USA, which became this big empire type of thing. But they
Yes.
were friends way before that started, like way before that. She knew him before Erica, and matter of fact, they knew each other before she met her husband. Charlie Kirk was at her wedding. She was at Kirk's wedding. They were very, very, very close.
So
Like
they're
they were,
besties.
yes, they were inseparable. Like everywhere Charlie was, you knew Candace was there, and everywhere Candace was, Charlie was going to be there. They were inseparable. I thought maybe they were going to be together
Yeah, for
at some
real.
point. Yeah, they were like they went to debates, big debaters. They were both big debaters, which very good at it, mind you. They were very good at it. And then
Well, that's why Charlie did the whole turning point thing.
yeah, he was an excellent debater, but so wasn't Candace. I mean, she could go in there and like, yeah, she would make the Democrats like this big huge uproar. But that's just what she did. That's just what she was good at. Now she has this huge podcast, and she debates people on it. She stirs it up, makes people think, and so yeah, so that's where they're at. And they were very big Republicans. I wouldn't even say conservative. They were just so political. They were just so political combined. And when you had them both together, they were a force not to be reckoned with in a lot of ways.
Gotcha.
And that's where, well, look what happened to Charlie Kirk. That's where his demise was. He was so good at what he did, and people just get so angry because he was turning college students into Republicans. Like, that's how, I guess, Trump won again, was because of him.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I kind of do, because I watched the whole thing on that when Trump was announced the winner. I mean, Charlie Kirk was almost on his knees crying, and they said it was because of Charlie Kirk. Even President Trump announced that if it wasn't for Charlie Kirk, he would never have won presidency.
Yeah,
Never.
because he's influencing the youth, I guess, right?
Yes, yes. So, and that's what I was telling the people earlier. I mean, so my son goes to, well, not no more. Like, now he transferred to a different. He's August. He starts a new school because he's gonna need to go to pre-med. But he went to UVU, Utah State University.
Okay. Yeah.
He was there when Charlie Kirk passed on. He was in line waiting to debate him, like to talk to him.
Oh no.
And yeah, so I mean, my son, like, when that whole thing, I was at work and I got the phone call from the police department, a detective, letting me know, and the school as well, because my son was there. They were talking to him. My son was distraught. They were offering counseling, and yeah, and to get that call was just a whole nother category. But anyways, so I mean, we didn't talk a lot about it in my household, just because of what my son seen and was right there. It was very traumatic for him. He's starting to talk a little bit more about it and what he's seen and how
Absolutely.
I mean, but it's not, I feel sorry for any of the people that were there, because it's a scary situation.
Yeah, to experience a person going through
Mm-hmm.
that significant of a situation is going to be traumatic. And, people deal with it in their own way.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad they offer a lot of help for the kids, or they're young adults at the school. And, and the way my son described it is they were all there and the debate started and everybody was talking. They were getting in line. He started throwing out hats. We have a hat. Well, my son has a hat from him that day. And it just, yeah, he had, and he was throwing out the hats. And then all of a sudden, kids are just talking among themselves. My son said they heard a noise. It was just weird because it wasn't like normal. And then they just started screaming. People just started screaming. And he said all you seen was Charlie Kirk going back. And then he said there's people surrounding Charlie Kirk. Like, they ran to him, surrounded him, pushing people back. And everybody started running. He said it was so fast, it was so traumatic, and they were trying to figure out where the sound came from.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just weird. It was just so weird. My son explains it way different, like probably way more in depth than I'm going to be able to.
A little bit more graphic, for sure, probably.
Yeah, I was not there. I just only received the call that he
I'm
was.
sorry your son went through that. Like, I know that apology doesn't, mean much to you probably, but, I can see that being really traumatic for him.
Oh yeah, I mean, for all of, I think, the students, even the ones that weren't right up close or weren't in line to talk to bait him or anything. I mean, imagine just being there in that chaos and not knowing if it was just a mass school shooting. They just didn't know.
You don't know.
Yeah, they did not know. They did not know if just somebody, they just didn't know. But the shooter was just aimed for him and that was it. But they didn't know that at the time. They didn't know if people were just going to, you know what I mean? So,
and that's what's terrible is, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that was all I was going to say. So yeah, so that's what I was saying is, like, I think this is why Candace is so in depth with finding out truth for Charlie. And I think, and it's so political and it gets so nasty. Political stuff gets so nasty.
It does. It really, really does.
And so, yeah, but that's where his demise was. So that's why I feel like, yeah, Trump probably would not have won if it wasn't because of Charlie going to these colleges, debating and changing people's minds.
I can see that. I don't know enough of the extent of it, but I can see that because you're going towards a different generation.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't know, I was falling down a rabbit hole one night because that's just what one person does, especially if they're in this community. And I fell down a rabbit hole of when Trump was a lot younger. And I think he used to be very charismatic. I can see that he probably still is, but I don't watch much of his stuff. But when he was a lot younger, he presented himself very differently than he presents himself now.
Yeah. Well, I
And
can imagine being, I mean, I don't know how many assassinations that man had on him. You start to change your tune a little bit, I would assume. I mean, I guess I would.
I think some of them are planned, but that's a whole conspiracy thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like, I've never seen somebody have so many attempts on his life in my. I mean,
I think some of them were planned on purpose. I think they were staged.
Do you think so? Well, I don't know. The one that was on the
ear
roof.
one was so staged.
Do you think so? I see. I don't watch a lot of it because, like I said, I don't watch Trump much either. I barely put on the news because it's always so depressing. Not that what we're doing is not depressing.
I don't watch any politics whatsoever, but
Yeah.
so for all 13 people in here, like, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I think it was so staged.
Yeah. Yeah, he holds his ear and drops. Yeah. See, and I don't. I just
Yeah,
didn't
he
know, like,
holds his ear like he holds a fist in the air like he's a fucking champion.
Oh, I know. Like he comes up with his hand fist up in the air, like dun dun dun, like
Yeah, like
Rocky,
he did it. Like, that has to be so staged.
like Rocky Balboa. But my thing is how does a young kid get on a roof? Like none of the agents can see that. Like they're supposed to be in a severe lockdown, and this young kid was able to get onto this roof and shoot his ear. I don't get it. Like it's kind of weird to me.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. There's like a lot of conspiracy around it, and I love the conspiracies for some reason, which is bad. I don't love the conspiracies. I humor them.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. Like with what's his face? Tyler Robinson, like the engraving of the bullets. But the thing is I was into Luigi Mangione before. So the engraving of the bullets really caught my attention.
Yep. Yeah. I know, and yeah, the whole thing with Luigi, and I was thinking, I thought about going to. Now, I'm not sure. I was thinking about going to Robertson. What's his name? The one that shot Charlie
Tyler
Kirk.
Robinson?
Yes, yes. I thought about going to his trial, like going in and sitting listening in.
I think you should. I mean, because, okay.
It's real close. It's real close to me.
Oh, really? Are you in Utah?
Yeah, I live in Utah.
I didn't know that. See, here's the thing. And this might be a little bit messed up, but if he did get DP, by the firing squad, I said I would go, because I live in Colorado.
Okay.
And so I'm like, that's just a short drive. I just go just to be there. They're like, you're not going to see it. I'm like, people go to those though. Still, they for some reason they got the fucking hot dog stand. I don't know.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I think, and I haven't gone to any of them. I've thought about going, because I'm like so close. It's just in Provo where he's at. And, but like I said, it just hits so close to home with that happening with my son, being there. Yeah. And so, but I thought about it, then I only went once to the hearing on gosh, my brain is so late. Um, the one, what's her name? She was already convicted. The Idaho, not the Idaho 4. It's the two women that lived together in Arizona. Why can't I even think?
I don't think I know. Was it the one with the kids or no?
Yeah, the two kids that she murdered, and then of course, her brother-in-law and her ex-husband, and
I think I know which one you're talking about, but I
yeah,
don't
I
know the
went
names either.
because my friend dragged me to it because she's so into that case. Like she never missed a trial. She even went to Arizona and went to that trial. I was like, you're just crazy. But I went with her once and we
Lori
sat.
Vallow?
Yeah, Laura Valid. Yes, Valid. And that was just, she is a crazy person. I'm sorry. I could not stand her. She was trying to represent herself.
Yeah, people that try to represent themselves, like, I think that shows, like, that should in itself um show some sort of like mental deficit,
Yeah. Yeah, it was
because
crazy.
it
So,
shows that their own like, I don't know. That might be me overstretching it, but it shows like their overconfidence in themselves.
yep. So we drove down there. We got there. We stayed the night because we had to get to the courthouse super early. The news chat stations were already outside, already setting up um, to film. Then we get up there. We are waiting to see if we can get in because it's first come, first serve to get in. So we waited to get in. We actually ended up getting in, of course they had some of the reporters that were already in there. They showed us where they kind of where we were supposed to sit, and then they just and then they walked her in. I remember it and and then they walked. Well, after everybody's came in, the judge made a few statements telling everybody they had to be quiet, no facial expressions, no, or we would be asked to leave. So then we were in there, then they walked her out, and then, but she just made no sense. I feel like she's just not all there. Like, she made no sense in the courtroom. She was trying to represent herself. She didn't even know half the time what she was talking about. She wouldn't look at any of the photos. She would keep her head down or turn her head.
That's
there was just so much.
interesting.
Yeah, she did. It's like she had no emotion, none.
But she like almost detached herself from it too.
Yep, she had none. It was just so weird to be in the presence in the same room. I told my friend, I don't know how you do this all the time. There's just, I can't be around people like that. Like, I just can't. Then we
Yeah,
did,
I get that.
and you have to be real quiet, no cell phones, everything turned off. Then we went out for lunch, and then we could come back, and the same people were allowed to go in.
Yeah, you're like, this is what you do for fun? Like,
I know, that's what I said. I go, this is like my whole day is shot. Like, I was like, we're in Idaho. We should go do something. No, we're at a Boise. It was a downtown Boise courthouse. It was just crazy. So I thought about going to this one here, but I don't know if I want to sit through all that, and I just don't know. I'm not one to sit in a courtroom and listen to all that.
I just feel like Tyler Robinson's case is a little bit too political for me.
It is very political, and I know that that's what it's going to be. And so he admitted. So this is what I don't understand. So he admitted to doing the pew pewing. He admitted it.
On like in a few different ways.
Yeah, right. And so now they're trying to get him, or not that his story changes. I don't know. I don't understand like what. See, I didn't follow it much because we stopped watching stuff like that because, like, again, my son, I didn't want to bring up anything. We just decided not to discuss it, but he's doing better. And so I thought
I'm so
I
sorry.
probably should. Yeah, no, and I should look more into it because I don't want to misspeak because, like I said, I've never gone to any of his hearings. And from my understanding, the hearings were really short anyways.
I haven't listened to any of them. I know a pretty basic level, I feel like, of the case. Like, I know what happened. I've seen the footage. I've seen, I know that there was engraving of the bullets. I know that the conspiracy around the bullets. I know the conspiracy around the trans thing, the thing under the keyboard, the thing with Discord. Um, I feel like I know a very mainstream level of the case.
Yeah. No,
Rather than like compared to like some people where they're like, well, this person was involved and this person knew the flight was, like has gotten really deep into the case. And I know a few of the conspiracies surrounding like, Erica and everything, but
yeah.
I haven't delved that far into it.
So my understanding, like Erica wanted a speedy trial. She just wanted to do a speedy trial. And I'm thinking, why do you want a speedy trial? This person murdered your husband. Don't you want everything out? Don't you want to know everything? You go through a speedy trial, things are going to be left out. Things are going to, I don't know. For me, if it was my husband, I want to know everything. I want this man to suffer and sit through this and have to explain himself. I want all of it. I know it must be hard. It would be hard, but it'd be my way of getting some kind of a closure in a sense.
In a sense, well. Yes. I could agree with that, but I can maybe, I don't know if it's devil's advocate or not, but this is my thing with the DP, for example. Because, DP is, eye for an eye, you're going to get justice, right?
Yeah.
But for example, the DP goes on for years and years, you're waiting for somebody while they're on death row. And what that inevitably does, and this is, I'm a thanatologist, so I'm credentialed in the study of death, dying, loss, and bereavement. What the DP inevitably does is it's extending that grieving process.
Yeah.
So
I can see that too.
Inevitably you're waiting for that closure. Like you're like, well, I'm not going to get this closure until this person's gone. And so you're changing at that point of when you're going to get that closure. And so I wonder if for Erica, for example, and this is me being devil's advocate, for Erica, for example, if the trial were to go on, that's preventing her sense of closure.
And I can understand that completely. But I thought with a speedy trial, though, a lot of stuff is left out. And I guess for me, I want to make sure the person that's standing trial is the absolute person that took my spouse.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're going through a speedy trial, I guess, yeah, you convict this man, and then later on he comes out saying, well, I wasn't me. Then you're just reopening those wounds because he's going to get there and decide it wasn't him, and he's going to want to.
Yeah, a speedy trial's not allowing for all the details.
Exactly. And then it raises doubts with even the community and people. It's like, why are you wanting a speedy trial? Don't we want to know for a fact this is the man that took your husband? Don't you want that? I don't know. For me, I would have to know without a reasonable doubt, this is the person that pulled the trigger. I want to know I'm putting the right man away. I don't want this on my shoulders.
I can see that. I can agree with that. Where you want to have actual justice rather than, a false sense of it in a way. Not that it would be a false sense of it, but you want clarity that that's what you're going to get. I think her grieving acceptance trust.
Yeah.
Because she's religious. It could be.
And yeah, and I mean, it definitely could be. I think her, oh wait, accepted. Yeah, and it could be, but if what Candace is, Candace Owens is saying is true, which I don't know. I mean, this is conspiracy theorist, and she does do a lot of that. But if what she's saying is true, that she doesn't think Tyler Robertson is the one that pulled the trigger, then I would like to see this trial go on, and I would like to know for a fact this is the man that pulled the trigger. I want to know, are his fingerprints on this gun? What was he wearing? Do you have those clothes? Does any of these fabric fibers match anything that was at the crime scene up on that roof? Because you know that they dusted for it. You know that they...
Dude, yeah, does the gun even fit into that pair of jeans? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes. I mean, I want to see every footage of every camera, of every angle, when he came in, when he left, how... I mean, they did show him jumping off a roof, but are we sure for a fact that was him? I don't know. There's so much I think the community needs to see, so we could shut down the conspiracy of it, and allow people to make sure they're able to see this trial. I think this trial should be somewhat public, so people have the right to see, what happened. And one, it could give closure to even Candace, and it can give closure to other people that were very close to him. And I get it could be selfish on, well, you're putting, Candace, or you're putting his wife through, Erica, through all this, but his mom and dad is going through it too. That was their son.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? You know what I'm saying? There's other people besides Erica. Yes, that was his wife. I get that, but
you're putting somebody who lost their child.
Yes, somebody who had to bury their son, and they deserve that. Is this what they want? I mean, I don't know. I just feel like Eric is, in a sense, I get you're religious, but you're being a little selfish, because don't you want to know for a fact, without a reasonable doubt, this is the correct man that's going on death row? Because in the state of Utah is going after the death penalty for him.
Yes.
They want him gone. Yeah, they are. And Utah's big on the death penalty. So
go ahead.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I do know that they're big on that, and they're gonna go for it. That's what they said they are doing.
Yes. And so, for example, let's just say his parents are like, we just want this closed off. We just want this over with.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you stand with that?
I mean, if that's what his parents want, I suppose, but then, everybody's going to have those wonders. I mean, it's kind of like the Carmelo Anthony case, right? There's conspiracy to that, right? There's a lot of debates on that, because I see it all over TikTok. It's the same thing. If you keep these cases closed and you don't allow room for the community or the public to see, then there's always going to be those doubts. So do we want to continue these doubts, or do we want to have this an open court system so people can see that, okay, putting Carmelo Anthony, he was convicted. His trials are done. He's been convicted. Now he's in prison, right? Mm-hmm. But there's so many people so angry because some of them say he didn't bring a poker to school. He didn't do it. Some people are saying, yes, he did. And then there's so many, well, the tent is blurry. They blurred everything out. Where's the evidence? We want to see the evidence. So you're always going to have that. This boy was bullied. But because it was a closed case, people are in uproar. They're in uproar. Well, that's what's going to happen here. People want to see this whole case. You do a speedy trial, you're going to have a community that's going to be an uproar.
Yeah, you're going to have a severed community. You're going to have a severed conclusion to it. But I think you're going to have a severed conclusion with it no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, you could, because I definitely feel like that I've been in some of the ones in Carmelo Anthony's case, because, it's a tragedy, and I've been on panels. Like, I was on a panel this morning for the case on that, and it was a debate, but I said it doesn't matter which way you want to look at it. Two parents have lost both of their kids. One might be still alive, but he's in prison. he's gone. For 35 years, this boy is gone. The other one has buried his son. The only thing he can have is a tombstone. So both parents have lost their children. There's no win in this situation. There's no win. And some are saying, well, he's going to get another trial, and others are saying, no, he's not. He's already convicted because Texas is, strict about that. And Texas is big on death penalties too. And they don't believe he's going to get one. So I don't know. It's just this, I just feel like, did he bring it? Did he not? And because they closed that trial and nobody could see it, and they closed it to the public, and they're only allowed a little bit of the evidence out, people are thinking that it was a setup.
It allows for a lot of speculation, for sure.
Yeah, you see where I'm going with that? And I think that could happen with the Charlie Kirk thing, because Candace isn't going to let it go unless she's able to have access to seeing this trial. She wants to be able to see this. She wants to hear what's going on, and she wants to know for a fact if this was the right man or not. And right now she doesn't believe it is. So without having it all,
there's already a mass amount of speculation around this trial.
Exactly. So you closing that up and doing a speedy trial, you're going to give even more fuel to the people that don't believe it was Tyler Robinson. Now you're going to put doubt in the community. People are no longer going to trust the justice system. They already don't trust it, but now you're really not going to trust it. And then Erica Kurt's going to look like this widow that wanted her spouse gone. And it was just, I don't know. I just feel like maybe there's no winning in either way. But I think with making sure without a reasonable doubt that they have the right person is something that needs to happen. And he has the right to have a trial.
Do you think Tyler Robinson did it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I was like, we'll just get to the point here. I
do. I mean, he fits they have videos of him jumping off the roof. They have the same clothes he was wearing when he was picked up. Where they found the rifle where it was hidden. They have cameras. They do have cameras showing him hiding it. There's a lot of actual evidence of that. I mean, we've seen it here in Utah. They showed it. On the news here.
Yeah, and I haven't gone too much into the conspiracies of like the different options, but
yeah, and it was confirmed that was his grandfather's gun.
I find it fascinating that I personally find Tyler Robinson, like him as a case study, interesting. If he did engrave the bullets, if he did do the Discord thing, if he did do the note, if he did, start talking politically. But I haven't really looked too much into the other theories of what could have happened.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I'm interested in hearing what Candace Owen has to say now, because it kind of intrigued me, because what I was believing before has changed a little bit of what I was thinking, So now it's like, more than anything, listening to her, I'm like, well, maybe we don't want this speedy trial. Maybe I want to know for a fact that this wasn't quite a setup and they framed Tyler Robinson. But then who would have gotten his grandfather's pew-pew? I don't understand. Anyway, there's some things that just don't add up with it not being him, but there could be
Luigi Mangione, on the other hand. No,
yeah. Then there's Luigi, man. Yeah, from my understanding, he did do it.
Yeah, no, for real.
But then I don't know. I mean, like, how is this case going? Did he already get convicted yet?
No. I think his case is, from my understanding, I kind of fell off from following it a little bit. But this is from what I know from like the lawyer's perspective. If you're rooting for Luigi, because since there's that thing with Luigi, since they didn't conduct the search right on Luigi when he was in the McDonald's.
Oh yeah, I heard about
The
that.
backpack, for example, doesn't count as evidence.
Oh shoot.
And that has all of their evidence to convict him. And so that might significantly impact his trial.
And he could possibly get away with murder.
Yeah, but he was kind of a vigilante.
So do you think he'll get convicted?
I don't think I'm well equipped or like well informed enough to say that. Like even like speculating wise. I know they had a ruling on that and allowed some things but not others. And yeah, Luigi's state case is due to start in September, federal in October. Yeah, see, and Luigi's got several trials.
Wow. See, look at all these things happening, man. This is crazy.
See, Luigi's the one that I kind of wish that this community did, like, because we do talk about Tyler Robinson. We do talk about, like, Charlie Kirk a little bit in this community. I wish we talked about Luigi Mangione.
Oh, people can. I mean, people can. I think it's just because his stuff has been dragging out and it's taken forever. So people are like, what the heck?
Yeah, and they may have talked about it at first, but I missed it. But
Well, like just like look at the Idaho 4 kill. Oh my gosh. That was brutality. Like, and there's some people that don't believe did it alone and other people believe he did it alone. Do you see all these speculations? This is just crazy to me.
the Nick Reiner case, I don't know Nick Reiner. I don't think.
I've heard of Nick Reiner, but I haven't really I haven't like.
See, and why can't like this community talk about these things? You know what I mean? Or we're on like, well, there's a new book on.
Oh, Jip Jip.
Yeah, I mean the book's good. The book's good. So actually, that one's actually a fair thing. But before that book came out,
Yeah. Well,
we're
now
dragging it out.
I don't even think we even care about Gypsy as much anymore. We're just don't like her. No, now we're just on the hate train on her. But I mean, like, her case is done and over. There's nothing we can do, and that's where that's at. I think it's just more of trying to keep her from making money. But yeah, I think I'd be very interested in learning more about the Luigi Oni, whatever his name is.
Luigi Mangione.
Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing that because he is a good-looking boy. He has a lot of fangirls going after him,
Yeah, he does.
and they want him set free. I don't know if I see that ever happening, him being set free. But I don't know if he'd get the death penalty or none of that. I don't.
Yeah,
think
imagine him picking up trash on the side of a highway.
Oh, you're right. Oh, and then Tyler Robinson. And I don't know if they'll end up with a speedy trial on him or not. I should check into that since I'm so close.
You should. You really should. Because I think, you know, I've been given, working in healthcare, I've been given opportunities to, I don't know, it just changes your perspective. Like, I've been given opportunities to be close to people that committed. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I worked in hospital for a while and we had a corrections unit and people that committed crimes of any capacity. At some point they do end up in a medical facility to get like evaluated and things, and I had to care for those people, and it changes your perspective because and maybe it's the capacity that I was working with them, but like you have to humanize them, and it feels weird. It feels really weird when you're in that same setting as them because you don't view them as this factor anymore. You view them as a person. And it causes a lot of conflicting feelings.
Yeah, it sure does. It does. It really does. Yeah, you're right, Megan. That is part of the problem. I agree with you on that. Because yeah, I feel like justice is starting with that book that was released. With that one with the book, I do feel like that is some kind of a victory, justice for Dee Dee. I feel like that is a closure, and after her voice now could be heard, and Dee Dee could be seen more like a human being, and that was a somebody, not somebody who's perfect, but she was a somebody, and it gives her some kind of a voice, I suppose. To me, that's the best closure I think we're gonna be able to get in the Gypsy case. However, I mean, I don't like seeing Gypsy making any money off of what she's done to her mom, and that's the only thing I will strive to help with. But other than that, there's nothing we can do. The case is over. She's not going back to jail, as much as we have to come to understanding of that. Her mom is gone, and she did it, and there we have it. I mean, what more can we do?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I definitely feel like these cases are still ongoing, and I think that would be great. I mean, who knows? Maybe I can see if I can go visit Tyler Robinson, do a visit request for him.
You should, try and, share about that.
Right. I wonder if he'd accept a visit request. He doesn't know me. I'm just going to visit. Hey, I just like to talk to you a little bit. So what were
It's
you
like, I'm going to
thinking
take whoever I can fucking get at this point. No,
I'm just going to ask you, why were you on the roof for? I mean, like, what made you do this? Why? Now look where you're at, sir. Was this worth it now? Just like, lecture him while I'm in there. But yeah, I should see before anything else happens. Yeah, I should go and see if he's would do any visits, because I can put in a request and they can give it to him at the jail or the holding where they have him hold it. But he would have to put the work into for
he's
it.
going to be wearing his turtle suit.
Oh yeah, huh? Yeah, he will be wearing a turtle suit, because isn't he on suicide watch?
He's probably consistently on it.
I'm wondering, because I mean, I would be if I was locked in a room by myself.
I would be. I'd be. Yeah, just put me in a fucking turtle suit. Who gives a fuck?
Right. So he's probably in there, I'm assuming, and then I'm assuming his family would go and visit him regularly. I'm assuming, because when you're on those kind of watches,
they're far.
you're allowed.
They're far in Utah. I think they're far in Utah from him.
They are. I think. Oh, he might, because they're allowed. I think when they're on, I better not speak, because I don't know. I hear different things about it, but I heard that he's allowed a visit once a week, or is it once a month? It was something with once. If
I'll
you're
believe
on
anything you tell me right now.
Yeah, no, I'll double check, because I don't want to be misleading anybody.
You can say once a week. I'll be like, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Once a month. Yeah, that sounds right.
Well, if he's on the suicide watch one, I think they're very strict about it.
I think they are.
Custody. I think they are on suicide watch when they first get arrested. Yeah, I'm sure they all are. Yeah.
I think he was legitimately on SI watch. Because I think he actually did express those thoughts. That was to my understanding. Because I know there's a picture of, and the reason why I say that is because I know there's a picture of Luigi Mangione, but I don't think he expressed it. I think he needed to be cleared. But I think Tyler Robinson did express it.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
And he may not be allowed any visits. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe only by immediate family.
He might be, yeah.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing is I don't know, but I maybe that's something I could check into since I'm so close. I mean, what could have hurt?
Yo, see, I'd be the type of person to be like, yo, let me just try it, and then it ends up working out, and I'm like, well, what do I say?
I know that's my problem. I don't know what I would do. I'm like, oh, he is accepting it. Oh shoot. Oh, hang on a second. Let me think about this.
I show up, I'm like, what's your favorite color, man? Like,
I would totally. Hey, I have my phone, and I know we're behind a screen, but is there a way I could? I'm gonna do a live stream. Is that okay?
yeah, can I live stream you real quick, man?
I know. No one's gonna believe me. Hang on. Let me push play. Hey, everybody. No. Say hi to the camera. I wonder if they'd let me like bring my phone in there. I don't know.
They probably wouldn't, but
I'm assuming. But it would be completely hilarious. Well, I just push play. You could hear him speaking. I don't know. I don't even know how the visit would be. Where would we at? Would it be just a little room? I don't know. Would it be behind glass? I've never really visited anybody in jail. Let me be real with you guys.
It would probably be behind glass.
Oh, well, there you go. I'll just lay it down and just so everybody can hear the conversation. I'd be like, everybody, give me your ask your questions now while we have an opportunity. I should try. I'll check it out. I'll even live stream until I get to the jail where he's at and show you guys where he's at.
Instant top creator for that.
Instant top creator. I'm in charge of the new case, Tyler Robinson. Oh no, I don't want to be involved in that because that's a whole political case there, right there. I don't need the FBI at my house.
You're just weaseling yourself into there. They're like, yeah, so now there's this person, Moonlight, for some reason. They're involved in this too.
I know. So what's your involvement? I have the FBI at my house knocking on my door. Like I'd be like, oh, I was just doing it for TikTok. I don't know. I'm just a part of the crime community, just participating in the crime community.
And they're like, what the fuck are you like?
You'd get on a few lists. Oh man, I don't want. Yeah, that would be weird. I don't. Yeah, that. I wonder if I'd get in so much trouble for that. Oh, it's something to think about. I should really think about that.
Nah. Live a little recklessly.
Yeah, you're all encouraging me, and then my house is all swatted.
Yeah, I had whatever, those birthday cake rice cakes. You encouraged me to live a little recklessly, so now I have to encourage you.
Yeah, but mine was like healthier for you. They were little rice cakes, and they were so
Those
good.
were gone way too quickly.
They were. I know. I'm so addicted to those. I buy them all the time, and I snack on them. I'm all counting them out, and I put them in a little bag, and I take them to work, and I'm like, all right, I got my 21.
I didn't even count them. I just fucking ate them like a little badass.
I love them. They're so good. They're delicious, and they have so many flavors. You got to try them all.
The s'mores one is really good.
Mm-hmm. The s'mores one, and I like the lemon cake, and I like the birthday cake. Oh shit, I like them all. What the hell?
I'll have to try the other flavors. I've only had the s'mores one and the birthday cake because of you.
Well, they have the chocolate covered strawberry ones, and they really have little freeze dried strawberries on them.
Oh,
Those are something on the check-in.
Like eating the special K cereal.
Yes. Yep. And then the lemon cake one has like a little drizzle of the lemon frosting on it. It's just like those little drizzles, and I'm very lemony, very citrusy. If you like citrus, yeah, I'll check into it, you guys. I will. I mean, there's only 13 people in here, so I'm sure to you 13. I'll find out a little bit more about the visitations if he's even allowed to have any. I mean, and if he is, maybe, or even a phone call.
That would be cool. That would be really interesting if you could.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's allowed a phone call. Maybe I'd and I don't know. I mean, he might be lonely. He might be bored.
He probably I don't know. A part of me wants to say he probably is, but the thing is somebody like Gypsy Rose, for example, was always getting people in her inbox.
Yeah. The only thing I could think of different between him and Gypsy, though, it's a high profile case, like high profile.
But
The
that's
only
the thing. A high profile case is going to get more people.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm wondering if they will even allow him to have visits. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I wonder, because if it's so high profile and who he took down, they may not even let him. I don't know. It's always worth checking into.
I mean, Ted Bundy, well, I guess they may have only he didn't let just anyone back there.
I don't think I was even alive when Ted Bundy. Wait,
I wasn't either, but I don't think they let just anybody back there even then.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Even though he got a woman pregnant. But
Who did?
Yeah, one of his kid, I think, was created while he was in jail. While
How
he was in
the hell
prison.
did that happen?
You pay off the guards.
And they don't look, huh?
If you pay off the guards, they're like, all right, cool.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, no, the guards are actually real shady. Like, do you know where like a lot of the drugs come from? A lot of the drugs come from the guards.
Jeez.
You pay them. And I've had inmates tell me this. Like,
Yeah, but where at? Like, I mean, those visiting rooms are like it's not like you can. I don't know what kind of visiting room he was in.
she crochet that blanket for Ryan either.
No, she doesn't know how to crochet. We all know she doesn't. It's even in the FOIAs. Come on, you guys. If I read those FOIAs and it said she had it made, she paid for that. She did not crochet. She doesn't know how to crochet. She didn't even know how to put on her makeup until someone taught her. Stop it already. Now crocheting.
He's sitting there. He's like, "Oh, Gypsy," as he like pets the blanket. It's not even hers. It's just some dude from Etsy who made it.
Heck, if I ever drive to Idaho, I should see if people can if people are able to visit the one that I don't want to visit him though. He's gross. The one that did the Idaho 4 killing.
Oh, what's his nuts? Brandon or something?
Something like that. Now that he's already in
Brian Colbert.
Yes, he's already now done with, and isn't he already in the? Isn't he already?
Yeah, because they think he pled guilty.
Yep. Yeah, he pled guilty to it. So he should already be in the state penitentiary now. It wouldn't be federal; it'd be state.
Unless he might be high profile enough to where they transferred him to a different state.
Very well could be.
Because
Yeah, but
they
only
transferred. James Holmes is in like Virginia, and he was Colorado.
Oh yeah, you know what? You're right. I wonder if they're going to do that to Tyler Robinson too.
Unless if they do DP.
Yeah, then they'll have to keep him there.
Because they would keep him there because a lot of other states are kind of crashing down on the DP.
Yep, and Utah's not doing that yet.
No, Utah's one of the only ones that does firing squad.
I know, imagine that.
Did you know, here's a fun fact. Did you know the Just Do It actually came from somebody who was on death row? And I think it was before he was executed by the firing squad. And they were like, do you have any last words? And he said, just do it.
Wow.
I swear to God, I swear on my life. He said, just do it before. And just do it is actually based off of that.
Well, I guess the firing squad, I guess that'd be the way you'd want to go, right? Because they have a lineup of people, officers, like, or the active shooter, whatever you want to call them, right? They have a lineup, and only one is going to, and they just don't know which bullet's going to do it.
I feel like that still has to cause some sort of trauma. I don't know.
I couldn't do it. I mean, I would be like, I can't do this. I would not be able to do it because I would have
No.
my.
I'm like, I'm always the one with the bad luck. Like,
But yeah, I heard that's how they do it. So it's like
it is.
only one of the guns has the actual bullet, but they practice getting the bullseye. Well, it's hard. I shouldn't say it that way, but it is the bullseye in a sense. And they have it on their forehead, and that's what you're aiming to shoot. But they're active, like they're, what do they call the professional shooters? They're not going to miss. But only one has the bullet in there, so you don't know which one has the bullet.
See, Megan, the injection is how they primarily do it, but the thing is that's okay. This is what I've heard because I've looked a little bit, and I have a little bit of I've gained some interest in the DP somewhat. The injection is how they primarily do it, but the thing is a lot of the facility nurses they aren't well trained in doing IVs because they don't do them that much. So they'll try doing an IV, and the thing is it'll cause an abscess. When they try to inject it, and either the medication will go slowly, it'll just be absorbed slowly in the skin, and that's not the way how it's supposed to be, or it's this whole thing with the DP, which is why they're like pursuing other methods, quote unquote, because they're not doing the injection correctly.
And I heard it can still be painful.
If they don't do it right, if they don't inject the IV correctly. And that's the big problem is like they're not having like somebody who's like really good at getting somebody's vein.
That's horrible.
Doing the injection. And like there was like this dude that they had to like poke him several times before it like actually worked. And like that caused like a lot of suffering, which that depends on what side of the end, do you not want human suffering? Do you want the person that causes a lot of conflict with ethics?
Yeah, it sure does. It really does. So, yep. I'm waiting for, well, I don't know. I mean, how many states are left? I know Texas is one that's is DP. Utah's DP. Idaho is DP.
Idaho is as well.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because see, I originally thought Utah was one of the only states left, but I think
Florida is too. Oh, hell, I think it's all these red states are.
I think I originally thought, I was like, Texas isn't, and I think I was wrong. I think Texas is.
Yeah, I have to look it up, but last I thought, I know Idaho, Utah, believe Florida.
There was more than I expected the last time I looked.
Texas, and what other states?
There is currently, see, again, the following 27 states.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a lot to me.
Yep. So and that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, there's
Colorado a lot just stopped in 2020.
Oh, thank you for the heart, me. Yeah, I think definitely. And they're supposed to only use those for very severe cases.
Yeah, like it's primarily the South.
Yep.
Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia. The West states are Arizona, California, really.
California has? I thought they stopped doing DP.
California is surprising.
Huh. I wonder how that they must have. I thought they stopped. So that one's shocking.
Idaho, Montana, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, Washington, Wyoming, and then Midwest is Indiana, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, and South Dakota.
Oh shoot, there's a lot.
More than half, which again, yeah, see, the last time I was surprised the last time I looked. Because there's a website, it's the Death Penalty Information Center, which is deathpenaltyinfo.org, and it will show you all the states that, yeah, like it looks like New Mexico, Colorado, Washington, North Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, whatever, the rest of the fucking states that are like, those are like the states that don't. Alaska doesn't. Hawaii doesn't.
Yeah.
But it's actually a really good website if like that's something that like you're ever interested in, because it'll like tell you like the actual like statute that says it.
That's a lot more states though than I didn't even think there was that many. See, I knew Florida, I knew Idaho. I knew about a handful of them for sure. I knew for a fact, but I didn't know all the other ones. I was like, California. I'm still shocked on that one.
Did you guys see Maternal Instinct? That child is now the youngest female in Texas on death row. I have not seen Maternal Instinct yet. No, but it's on my, when I decide to actually watch things, that's on my to watch list, because I've heard a lot of things. I've heard a lot of people talk about Maternal Instinct.
And did you know in Texas, they're the only ones with Texas Rangers? So what is a Texas? Okay, what's the difference between a Texas Ranger, federal FBI agents, and the regular police department?
Okay, federal FBI, they're federal, so they're like their own entity. So we can set them aside. They're their own side dish.
But then you have the Texas Rangers.
The Texas Rangers and the police officers, I got no fucking idea.
Because I heard the Texas Rangers are a lot more, they're a lot more aggressive. They don't have as many rules. They have to follow like the police department does. So I'm curious of what sets them aside, because they're not bounty hunters, but they're kind of bounty hunters, but they're really not considered bounty hunters. I don't know.
They're less regulated. Dude, they're almost like fucking funeral directors. Like, and okay, like, and I say that, like, I don't know what I mean, but when I say, like, okay, what I mean by that is, okay, so Colorado is one of the only states that, like, it's like the wild, wild west in the funeral industry out here. Like, because you're not regulated as a funeral director out here. And, like, that's why we've had, like, a lot of, like, funeral homes, like, show up with, like, they're giving cement to people instead of, like, fucking ashes. I feel like in Texas, like, a Texas Ranger is, like, they're not, like, they're less regulated. Like, oh, the cops have to follow this law, but a Texas Ranger doesn't have to follow this law.
Yeah. And I heard that, like, if you run from they're allowed to they can shoot you if they, like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know.
That's what I mean. They're less regulated.
Like, oh, my trigger finger slipped.
Yeah, oops, it slipped. And unlike the cops who have like protocols for that, where they're like, oh, okay, we have to put you on administrative leave or like something like that.
They don't have to do that.
A Texas Ranger doesn't. A Texas Ranger, oh, you were just doing what you were told to do, rather than a cop where they're like, put you on administrative leave.
Yeah, right.
That's my opinion. I have no idea what I'm talking about to all the 11 people here or anyone who listens to a replay. I have no idea what I'm saying.
It's 10 now, so don't worry. Most people probably won't even be interested in watching our replay. I don't know. I think, yeah, they don't have any really, like, I don't know. I guess they say when Texas Rangers come after you, it's because the police couldn't get you. So now the Texas Rangers had to get involved, and then you don't want to mess with them because you may not come out on the
Yes,
well.
send the Rangers on them.
Yeah, I would just turn myself in at that point. I'm like, you're just gonna shoot the kill, so I'll just turn myself in. I'm done.
I'm done here, man. And like, I put up a good fight.
It's time to just let it go, because you guys are gonna break into my house and just take right to the morgue is what you're gonna end up doing. So I'm just gonna turn myself in before it gets to that.
Dude, that's what I would say. I would say probably, and this is just my guess, like that Rangers are probably less regulated, like, you know, by the county or something. Like they're probably regulated by like their own, like, or maybe they are regulated by the county, but they're not regulated by the state. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because who pays them? Would it be it would be the county that pays them, right? Whatever county they're in would pay them, not the state.
Yeah, see
So
the
look at
difference
the
between
state.
state police and county police. That's what I was saying, Megan.
Yeah, I don't even know how they get their paychecks.
They could probably get it from the county, probably.
Yeah. I'd be like, I don't want to pay them no more.
We gotta talk to somebody who's from Texas here.
I know we need anybody from Texas. The 10 the only 9 people left in here, and you have 9. Everyone's like falling asleep. They're dropping off.
They're falling asleep, or I'm fucking boring them with like, you know, I just started hearing like, what's the difference between a Republican and a conservative? And people are like, oh hell no, we're not fucking doing this.
Well, they're probably like us. They have no idea either. They're like, oh, I don't know. I thought they were the same.
I thought they were too, but you know, I like to challenge things. I don't know.
Have to look it up, the definition between the two. And see, I'm sure they vote the same, just like a liberal and Democrat vote the same.
What does Google AI say? Here, let's see.
And then a socialist has their own little party going on, and I don't think they
What's
vote
the
for
difference
either.
between a conservative and a Republican? A Republican is a registered member or supporter of a specific political organization, whereas a conservative is someone who holds a particular set of right-leaning political and social philosophies. I don't know. That sounds like the same thing to me.
Right? Because they vote for the same thing. They're voting for the same they're voting the same.
One's a organization and one's a philosophy.
Oh. Okay. So the organization, you have to pay to be a member?
While the two overlap heavily, not all Republicans are conservatives and not all conservatives are Republican.
All right. Well,
that's too much for me right now.
I know. I'm like, well, I don't even know what to say to it. So,
I don't mean to keep you up. I will let you go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to probably close down. I got to be at work early in the morning, but it was a good conversation, I think. I mean, for those that are still awake, we could party again another night.
Yeah, it was such a party, such a beautiful party over here. I get a little chatty late at night, so
it was a little it was small talk. It was fun. And now you got me thinking I should check into, you know, Tyler Robinson a little bit more, and maybe that's something that we could do, like a late night topic or something. And maybe I can figure out more information on him and his visiting hours, if he's allowed any, what I'm allowed to bring, what I'm not allowed to bring, if I can visit him, if he'll even let me visit him.
Yeah, see, and you won't see me for like 5 to 10 business weeks, and I'll show up again. No, it's about like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I show up about every 2 weeks.
And then, or if he's allowed phone calls. I don't know. I'll see what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do.
That'll be good. I think you should do that.
And yeah, it's not that it's that far away from me, so I could definitely go and do that. And maybe get some insight. That's even if they'll let me talk to him. I don't know. It's a high profile case. They may not even let me in if I'm not family. So I don't know. We'll soon find out, won't we? All right, ladies. I guess I'll go to sleep. Good luck on your night shift. You said you're a registered nurse and you're gonna be up all night. But anyways, have a good night, you guys.